All right, guys. Welcome to today's session of the Start Right conference. And this is the maiden edition, actually. And I'm so glad you guys have been able to make time to join us today. I just want you to do one thing for me. Just relax in your seat. Today, I'm going to be the captain for this very trip. And I have my captain assistants and the hostess and everyone that is ready and they are poised to lead us to that very destination that we have all been yearning for, right? So if today happens to be your first time here and you are online right now, please do your possible best and then share this very link with other people. That is what I want you to do for me right now. Share the link for with other international students who are either going to Canada or they are coming to US to pursue their higher education. And then also, if don't let it be only for people who are coming here, because every idea and anything that we are going to share in terms of the information, you might also need it if you are preparing or starting to put in your application for the fall 2025. So don't just limit it to people who are already here or people who are coming. Try as much as possible and share the link with other people for them to be able to join us for today's session. Now, in few minutes, we are going to bring people who are ready for us, right? I'm going to bring each and every one of the speakers that we have. You guys have seen the flyers going around, and so definitely you know the speakers that are coming. But then we want to know them personally, right? We want to know what they are into, what they did and what they are into, or what they are doing now. And then from there, we'll now zoom into the main action for today's session, right? So what I want you to do for me right now, if you are watching us and you are coming for the fall 2024 semester, either in the US or in Canada, I want you to type in the comment section. Right, just put your university that you are coming to, put it in the comment section, and then also the program that you are coming to do. It will go a long way to help someone who is watching, who is now preparing to put in his or her application. So do your best, and then type in the university you are coming to and the program you are coming to read. Okay, and I'll gladly love that. Also, if you are watching us from a different country, like you're watching us from Gambia. I know some of my followers are from Gambia, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. Try your possible best and tell me the country you are watching us from, and then also the current time that is there as at the time that you are watching us live on this very channel. Now, I'm streaming live not only on YouTube, I'm streaming live on my Facebook, I'm streaming live on Instagram, I'm streaming live on TikTok, and then also on my LinkedIn profile. So everyone has somewhere to watch. But then those of you who are watching me from TikTok, you can only see my face. I want you to be able to see the various speakers, okay, those who are coming to give us the information. I want you to be able to see their faces. So if possible, you could go to Aaron Inspire, subscribe, and then watch us live from that very point. You'll be able to see all of them when I begin to introduce them. So thank you very much. Now, I'll be bringing them very soon to the stage, and then they are going to introduce themselves to us, and then we take it up from there. All right, so welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So I want you to introduce yourself to us. We are seeing your beautiful face and that very nice glasses of yours. And we want you to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself, and then we take it up from there. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. And everyone who is joining us this evening, we thank you for making time for us. My name is Kojo Day, and I am currently at the University of Kentucky. I am getting to my second year PhD in communication. So my research is usually in health communication, mental health among international students, health message design. So that's what I do. And I've just currently been also given another mandate of leading graduate students, Ghanaian graduate students in the United States. So there is an association, GRASAG USA. I am the chief servant for that association here in the US.
Wow. Thank you very much. Congratulations on being the president for GRASAG USA. And we know you are going to do a lot for humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll bring you back again. All right, so let's move to the next person that we have on the bill. So we have, all right, Miss Felicity, right? So please introduce yourself to us shortly.
Okay, so I'm Felicity Sanabubachi, a PhD student of University of Maryland with rhetoric and political culture track. My research interest gender studies, feminist, and Black studies. So that's what I do. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much. So I forgot to ask even Victor. So for how long have you been in the US, please, if I may ask?
So I'm entering into my fourth year in the US. Did my master's here in Ohio and currently in Maryland for my PhD.
Oh, great, great. Congratulations on that. Thank you so much. 4 years. Wow. Yeah, they have been here 1 year. All right. Thank you. So I'll bring the next person. Okay, so this person is actually my mentor, right? He is my mentor. He has been very supportive throughout my journey of coming to the US. And I really love this man so much. All right, sir. So kindly introduce yourself to us, sir.
Hi, Ron. Thanks for having me here. And
You're welcome.
greetings to all your viewers. My name is Isaac Enchi. I'm currently a research scientist at Vividian Therapeutic, which is a biotech company in San Diego here. Did my graduate studies at University of Alberta in Canada and then moved to Yale University for my postdoc. I think after which I moved back to Canada to start my first industry position with a company called Northern RNA. Worked there for 1 year, and then last year I relocated back to the US, where I'm currently working with Vividian Therapeutic as a medicinal chemical scientist. Excited to be here today. Thanks for having me.
Wow. Thank you so much. So you have been to Canada and then you are now in US, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I moved to Canada in 2016 for my grad studies, and then moved to US in 2021 for my postdoc, and then I moved back to Canada, and then finally moved back to the States. So I've been transitioning between Canada and US for the past
Wow.
7
Then
years.
we have a lot to learn from you today because you have been, flowing through the two countries, right? So
Right.
we have a lot to learn from you. And it's like from back to back, you've been to the two countries like 2, 3 times. All right. Thank you very much. And we are blessed to have you. So let's have the next person that we have, the next speaker. All right.
Hi
Madam,
everyone.
please introduce yourself. Hi.
Hi, my name is Afina Delabia Koto. I am a third year PhD candidate at Brandeis University, where I am pursuing a PhD in social policy. My research lies in STEM education, specifically for girls. And I've been in the US, I think December will be 10 years. So I'm excited to
Wow.
be
No. Wait. You've been in the US for how long?
10 years.
Interesting. But you came as an international student, right?
Yeah, so I did my bachelor's and my master's, and I worked for a bit, and now I'm pursuing my PhD.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for coming on board. And we are going to learn a lot from you. Myself, I just spent 1 year in US and as an international student, and I'm also going to learn a lot from this very conference. Thank you for coming on board. All right. So let's move to the next person.
Yeah, Aaron, thanks for having me. And if you can see me like your viewers, my greetings to everyone. So I came to the US in 2016, which means I've been here for 8 years. I came to do my master's degree in economics at Ohio University. Then when I finished, I did another master's in information and telecommunication systems, and I'm currently doing my PhD in economics. I'm going into my fourth year, and my research interest is in macro energy economics and stuff like that. So
Wow. Wow. So you've bagged 2 masters already and you're on your third, your doctorate degree, right?
well, I guess it is what it is.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on board. So guys, we have these great people who are coming to share their experiences with us when they came here as international students, right? I also happen to do some mistakes, and it was through my mentor that I have to correct some of the mistakes. And today I am here happily enjoying the program that I'm doing. And I know that this very conference is going to go a long way to help you, because these people that we are talking about are people who have spent not just 2-3 years in US, but they've spent more years in US as international students. They didn't come here as resident, they came here as international students. So we are going to enjoy a lot from them, because they are coming to share some of the mistakes they did, and they don't want you to do similar mistakes. And that is the main motive for organizing this very conference. So if you are here, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for joining. I really, really appreciate your time here. And just like I said earlier on, relax in your seat. Whether you are on the bed watching us, I want you to sit up and then learn, okay? Learn, because we are going to share a lot of things with you before we depart from these very premises. All right. Thank you so much. So we are going to have our first speaker for today. We are going to have our first speaker for today. For today's session, and that is going to be Mr. Victor Kojo. That's the current elected president for GRASAG USA. So he is going to be the one to lead us in the first session, and then after that, the other speakers are also going to come on board, and then we take it out from there. Now, remember that we are going to have the Q&A sessions where you are going to ask your questions. If there's anything that is bothering your mind, they are here to answer us, okay? So please feel free. When the time is up, I am going to share a link in the comment section, and then also I will be showing it on the screen. All you have to do is to click on the link and then request to join us backstage, and then I will bring you on board to be able to ask your question. Thank you very much. And then over to you, Mr. Kojo.
Well, thank you. I think there's an echo where I think it's better now. There was some feedback, but I think it's better.
Okay.
So thank you again, and to everybody who is joining us. We appreciate your time, and also greetings from GRASAG USA to everyone watching us. Those watching us from the United States, those who are watching us from Ghana or all other part of the world, we extend our greetings to you from the association, which is made up of ambitious, intelligent, esteemed students who are pursuing these various academic journey to acquire knowledge to help the world. So I am just going to go telling about myself and how I got to the United States and for postgraduate education. For me, I had always told myself when I started my, maybe I should say way back from secondary school, when I used to read people's profile. I've always wanted to be in academia, so I used to follow people like that a lot. And when I read their profile and then I see that their profiles have some schools, like some of their education outside of Ghana, I've always felt like I think I need to get this someday. I mean, it shouldn't just be from Ghana. I was at the University of Cape Coast. So one day when someone is reading my academic profile, there should be some sort of internationalization in it, just to have the experience and also know how things are, because I noticed that there is more diversity when you leave Ghana than when we're in Ghana, unfortunately, because in Ghana, we are all Ghanaians, the same people from different ethnic groups, all right. But when we are talking about people from different countries, different cultures, it is always when you leave your country, that's where you get all that. So I had always wanted to get my further studies from the United States. So it was a plan to do that. Unfortunately, after my first degree at the University of Cape Coast, which I graduated in 2015, I didn't have a lot of information. And that's the reason why I also find some of these platforms and some of these programs very important, because now I feel people have a lot of information on what to do. I didn't have any information. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything on YouTube like this, which I could follow. So it was just me trying to follow my own path based on what I've heard. By then, I had been exposed to Ohio University because my program director at the time attended Ohio University, and he used to talk about Ohio University. I had a few people who had also attended Ohio University, so that was my try Ohio University. I didn't even know that when you are applying for schools, you should have a passport, because there was a I have to put my passport number. I didn't know. So right after my national service, I was very eager to apply to higher university, and I've gone to the website and I started applying. And then I get to a place where you should put your passport number, and I don't have a passport. And so everything is like, oh, how? Because like I said, information was not there. So I just quit that dream at that time. Then the University of Cape Coast has started a master's program in my department. I said, okay, whilst I'm waiting on my passport, and Ghana, if you want to get a passport, it may take some time. So, though, and I didn't have the money to run an agent expedited one. So I said, okay, let me just go through the normal process to get a passport. But while waiting, let me just open to this master's program at UCC, which I did whilst I tried to get this passport together. So I think in 2019, I finished my master's program at the University of Cape Coast, and I said, no, right after this master's, I am not continuing here again. I'm going outside of the country. First, I started in the UK, and I realized the UK was not very much feasible for me. And so I said, okay, let me just go back to my university. And then I started the process. And again, this process was just solely by myself and Googling. My statement of purpose at Google, sample statement of purpose to read just to have an idea of what a statement of purpose looks like. And then I had to read, and then I had to restructure them and reorganize them to see. So it wasn't like today that for me personally, I review a lot of people's statement of purpose, and sometimes people want me to even write it for them. Quite unfortunate though, but and I tell them we did all these things by ourselves because I was very focused and I was determined. And that's what I tell people: if you're very serious minded and you really want to do this, it's quite tedious, strenuous, but it is worth the time. That's what I want to let people know. And you don't expect that people here will spoon feed you, because then when you come here, you can't survive, because here you do things by yourself. If you can't put up your own statement of purpose for someone to review it for you, I'm wondering how you can answer emails. I'm wondering how you can read articles, 5 of them, and summarize them in a page. Because for me, I see all these things, the processes through which before the application even goes through, as a learning process for yourself to expose you to how the system, academic system and environment is like here. So I had to do all these things by myself. And then lo and behold, in 2020, I had my admission from the COVID strike, and then all the closing down in March. I didn't go for interviews, and that was very, very a huge blow. But then I persevered. My program, which is usually run in the fall semester, now transitioned to the spring semester just to make way for people to be able to get into the program. Now I go for my visa interview November 18th, 2020, and visa got denied. Consular officer looks at me and says, I'm sorry, you do not qualify for the visa category you're applying for. No reasons. He hands over a white paper to me, and I walk out of the embassy with a straight face and disappointed and not knowing what to do. And I joke about this today, but I think Aaron, we've had this discussion before. Maybe in a separate conversation, expand on that. But then that was it. But like I said, it's still the determination. And I said, I'm not going to bar out of this. I wrote to my school. And for me, the mistakes that I made, and talking about the mistakes I made when I was going for my interview, was that my sponsor, the one who was sponsoring me, there were so many errors that came between myself and my sponsor that I didn't know. I didn't correct them, and so I was very, very much cocksure that was the area where the problem actually did started. And so later I had to reorganize myself again. I reapplied because for me the program deferred for me. I reapplied the second year. Now being very mindful of all the errors that I have made before and being very strategic about it, and then boom, I was approved, and then I landed in the United States. One of the things that a lot of people are not doing, and this is one of the passionate things that anytime I get the opportunity, I tell people, especially those in Ghana, when you look at the pictures that we take and the videos we make here, it looks all luxury and exciting. And I'm using this as myself. People, they will look at you and they'll think you're looking very nice. There's a land of honey, and I'm like, dude, some of us do not want to look like the stress that is or the challenge that is here, because we have decided to put that good aspect of us. And besides, if you are wearing a designer shirt in the United States and you are driving here, and I know it's luxury as it might have been in the United States. So that's not a measure for you to think that all is all that I'm just saying. You not be excited to come to the United States just because you think and you assume in your mind that it is all rosy as a student. Like you see, it's just a fun field. You are on a fun fair, like you're going to be enjoying and having honey. It is absolutely different, and people do not get this information before they transition, and that's how it hits them so hard. Now, my background was in international relations. I thought I was coming to the US to follow political science and then move on to the reason why I changed to health communication was my own lived experience when I got here. I was very fortunate. I had family here, so my transitioning was very smooth in terms of when I got here. But then when I left my family from Columbus and I went to Athens, that small university town, Shaibu also attended there, so he knows what I'm talking about. And then my family left me and got back to Columbus, and that was the first time I kind of felt very alone, and I realized this was not very easy. Man, it was hectic. And even at OU, which has a very strong Ghanaian population, one would wonder why would you even feel depressed or challenged? But it is real, because it is not just about seeing people, it is about you integrating into the system. Sometimes people may wonder, it's an English speaking country. You go to the class and you don't understand what your professors are saying because they are speaking English, and you don't know if they are speaking a different version of the language. It is daunting on you. The classroom experience in itself is also very different. You are used to a teacher coming to stand in front of you, giving you and writing, and you write, and then at the end of the day, the exams, you are just, what is this? And then, if you are able to chew and pour all of them, and you realize this is a totally different thing altogether. I am reading every single day of my life, writing every single day of my life, writing reflections, response papers, which I had not even heard about and never written some before. But it's, and expected to fit into it. The classroom experience is also technologically centered. Where am I using Blackboard? In Ghana, I don't know what Blackboard is. Now I'm used to Canvas. I've transitioned to the University of Kentucky, and I'm even still struggling to get into Canvas because a year now on, I'm still challenging. And all these things you don't know. The first time you come, we have an orientation for you, but it's so much of information over just 1 week, and they say a whole thing. So you are not able to take these one by one to really understand them. So you have to learn on the job. Once they put you there, you just have to learn on the job. And those who have teaching assistant positions, they just throw you into the class. And then you just have to find your own way out, trying to navigate your way. There are different classroom cultures and all that. So these ones were very daunting. And it was very daunting on me. That was even when my research trajectory will now even change and to look into mental health among international students, how they are coping. Because I realized it wasn't just about me, but it was just my colleagues and friends who were going through. This is not to scare people, because there are also alternative resources available that we can use, even though we are not used to them, but they are there. One of the ways that has helped me or did help me was I was very intentional of having extracurricular activity, having fun. It is one of the I was very intentional about, and I did make time for that. Because if you are not very intentional, you'll be so much submerged with the pressure that it will break you apart. But also remember that you are not you are not here to you can't do it all. I joke with my friends and I'm like, you have to get a 93 to have an A here, not 100. So you just if you want an A, just get use the out of the 7 just to have fun, to relax with yourself. You don't have to score all the points too. So it could be very, first of all, if you want to succeed in this, you have to be very focused. You have to be determined. You have to be strong-willed about this. Do a lot of research. Our phones are much more important to us and valuable to us than just taking pictures
Okay.
go online, read, and get a lot of information, so that when you get in touch with some of us who are here, we can also help you, because we don't have much of the time. Like I said, someone will tell you to write your statement of purpose. It doesn't, for me, tell me that you are a serious. I mean, someone who's serious who want to do it. You get to us. We can also help you to go through. I review statement of purpose with a lot of people, but I only do it after you have made the effort and you have reached out to me. I can make time for you. So first of all, it is for you. Make the time, find it, ask questions, determined. And the purpose of your transitioning to the United States should not just for you in your mind, I just want to japa because there's so much fire in Ghana and I want to leave. Different heat here, which if you are pre-informed, I mean, there's a way they say to be forewarned is to be forearmed. If you are not taking through that basics, you come here and find yourself wanting. The weather alone can be challenging. I have a friend in North Dakota, and he tells me the first winter, he actually unfortunately came through the spring semester, and it was a different thing altogether again. Now he wants to go back to Ghana. So what I'm trying to say is that I try to condition people's mind that, of course, the journey is worth it. You can make it if you want to do it, but know that there will be some challenges and that there are ways you can also navigate your way around. It's a short time
Thank
video.
you.
I don't know if I've even taken
Yeah,
all, but this is where I want to end. Since there is a Q&A to maybe want to come
yeah,
in later.
sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Kuju, Victor Kuju Day, the currently elected GRASAC president. That's GRASAC USA president. Thank you so much for this very insightful information that you've given to us. And one thing that I took from it, you said community engagement, right? Community engagement. And that is one of the things that we need to look out for when we come here and not just looking books. All right. Thank you so much. So we're going to have the next speaker also coming to share her experience with us, and then some of the things that she did right as an international student when she got here, and then what are some of the mistakes she did. She don't want you to also come and do similar mistakes, right? So we are done with Mr. Kojo Day, and then we are moving to, that is my newfound friend that I found not long ago, Miss Ophelia. So please, if you are ready, you can unmute yourself, introduce yourself to us, and then quickly zoom in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, certainly. So, as I stated earlier in my introduction, I moved to the US about 10 years ago. This was in 2014. And when I moved, I was only but a teenager, I would say. I was like 17 or so. And so my journey has been such, I don't even know how to comprehend it, but it has been that of such formative growth and learning. And I have had to, be resilient, assimilate, and, learn a lot of new things. I remember when I moved here, I was living in Arkansas. That's where I was going to school. And so it was just very different from the life that I knew in Ghana. And I remember one thing that I really struggled with was the accent, because in Arkansas also was in the countryside, they had this country accent. I remember that I had to sometimes record my lectures and then go back and replay it because I just couldn't understand anything that my professors were talking about, like what Kujo said earlier. And so with that, I don't know if there are any incoming undergraduate students who are young and who are coming in. I hope my story somehow inspires you that you can do it no matter how young you are. And even for the incoming graduate students, those going to places where the accent is so thick and so different, maybe recording your lectures can help in some way, and also watching the news. I think that's where I learned to pick up on the accent. And another thing that also I would
No,
say,
before you continue, you mean you were watching news
yes, I used to watch the news a lot because like my dad like advised me to watch the news if I can't understand. So I
just for you to be able to understand the accent, right?
yes,
But
exactly.
I thought we were coming from an English speaking country, so that shouldn't be like difficult for us. Tell
Oh,
us.
I don't know when, like the way they were speaking, I just couldn't get it. Like I remember, like my very first experience, like speaking to a white person, it was my pastor's wife. I could see her mouth moving, I just couldn't hear the words coming out of her mouth. Understand? So like it was all part of like the learning and the growth, as I stated earlier. And I think one thing that a lot of people do not also talk about in some of these settings, it's sometimes you're going to be the only black person, you're going to be the only woman, going to be the only person with the accent, and that is okay. Just be yourself. I remember this is one of the mistakes that I made. I used to shrink myself so much. Like, oh, I have an accent. When I talk, nobody's going to listen to me. People are going to think that I'm dumb, or I don't understand what I'm saying, or I don't know what I'm saying. So I used to be so quiet and reserved never ask questions, even when I didn't understand what my professors were talking about. But please don't do that. Just be yourself, be authentic, be who you are. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of you building resilience and you just being who you are. Honestly, your accent is a part of you. So don't shrink because of that. And I guess I'll go back and I'll say the first thing though is God. Like Genesis 1 verse 1 tells us in the beginning, God, right? So throughout the 10 years, I know that there have been seasons, like the fall, the winter, the spring, autumn, whatever it is, God has been constant through it all, right? And another thing that I will say is, or another mistake that I used to really do was not applying to things because I thought I was not qualified for them. So please, even if you're not qualified, just put yourself out there. You never know, right? You never know. Just put yourself out there and apply for things. And I guess some of the things that I did that helped me excel, I would say, is
Yeah, go ahead.
reading before class. Most of the time, your professors upload their lecture notes and everything online. So you can go ahead and read before the class starts, asking questions, as I stated, going for your TA sessions, meeting with your professors. I feel like America, or I don't know about Canada, maybe Dr. Andrew would speak more about that. But I think that the US is a place where your professors are very receptive of your ideas. So you can go to your office hours and talk to them about any challenges that you may have. And then I think they are willing and able to help you in any way that they can. So for the incoming students, please make sure you talk to your professors, talk to your TAs. They are able to help you. And also cultivate relationships. I think that relationships are very important in your class group settings and even the people sitting by you. You never know who knows who. So cultivate good relationships that can also help you to excel and take care of your mental health. I like for
Please,
those,
please hammer on that again. You said we should take care of what? Our mental health.
yes, take
All
care
right,
of
sure.
because that's all that you got. At the end of the day, America, like you're using the dollar, you always want to work, do that, work 80 hours a week, whatever. But take care of your mental health because that is also important because once that breaks down, you break down as a person and as an individual. And finally, be authentic. I'll stress on that again. Please do not shrink for anybody. Be who you are, stand firm. When somebody tells you you have an accent, you tell them you have an accent too. That's not how they talk in Ghana, period. So please be yourself and be authentic. Just be you. That's all I'll say.
All right. Thank you so much. When I call her incoming Dr. Akoto, she says she don't want that, but I still call her that. Thank you, incoming doctor, and we really appreciate that insight you've given to us. We really appreciate that, and also for your time. So she's still going to be around, and then when we get to the Q&A session, so after 4 speakers are done presenting, or after they are done giving us the information, we are going to open the floor for some few questions, at least maybe 3 or 4 questions. Then the other speakers will also now come in with their submission before we wrap it up with the final Q&A. So when it gets to that point, now 2 speakers have already given us the information that we need. We have other 2 coming on board. And then after that, I will post the link for you to be able to request and join us live. We can show you on the screen. So please, when you are joining us, make sure that you have your video on, right? If you don't have your video on, and I'm not going to accept that request. So have your video on, make sure you are audible enough, and then we'll bring you on board to come and ask your question. Now, if maybe you are shy of camera, you don't want to come live for people to see you, and you want to ask your question, still type it in the comment section. I have a lot of people. As it stands now, we have almost about 200 people watching us on YouTube, and we have almost about 15 people on TikTok. I've not checked that on Facebook and other social media handle, but then do your possible best and then type it. If you type in at the comment section, it will still appear on my laptop, and I'll be able to see it and then project it for the various personnel to be able to attend to that question. Thank you very much. So when it gets to that point, I am going to share the link with you. And then also, like I said, we are going to send forth Google form. What all you need to do is, if you are incoming international student, it is not for those who are yet to put in the application. If you have gotten your visa and you are coming to either US or Canada, you have to fill that form. And what that form is going to enable us to do is that when you get here around November or December, we are going to assist you for free. We are going to assist you to be able to apply for either your Canadian visitors visa or your American visitors visa. So if you are a student in US, we will assist you to apply for that of a Canadian visitors visa. And then anytime you want to go for vacation in Canada, you can easily go there. And then also, if you are a student in Canada and you want to apply for a visitors visa, the American visitors visa will assist you for free. So that is why we are taking those data. So please, if you are not, if you don't have the visa for you to be here, either in Canada or in US, please don't fill out that form, right? Because we need those information to be able to help people out with that. Thank you very much. So the next person we have is my mentor. And so we have him on board now, and he's going to also share his experience with us. He has a lot of experience because he has been running through the two countries that, I mean, most international students continue their higher education. All right, over to you, my boss.
Well, thanks, Aaron, and thanks, Felicity and Kajo, for that introduction. And it's always an honor to speak to people, especially when it comes to graduate studies journey. Like I said, my name is Isaac Enchi, currently a research scientist at a biotech company in San Diego here. And so my journey began in 2016. I think, I didn't have any intention of traveling, I should say, when I went to UCC. I probably didn't even know about it. But somewhere, I think, maybe in our third year, we had some TAs who we later found out that they've traveled outside for their graduate studies. So it was around that time that, the whole idea of possible traveling abroad for graduate studies became more of a reality. And like many other speakers have, already attributed, there weren't a lot of information as we have now, and that's why some of these information sessions and all the stuff most of you have been doing, I think, they are very amazing. It helps a lot of international students. And so right after, finishing my bachelor's degree, I think that was when I decided to serve as a teaching assistant. And the whole idea to serve as a teaching assistant was basically to have access to internet as well as proximity to my lecture when it comes to recommendation letter. So I was initially posted to a decided college for my national service, and then the university opted that I serve as a teaching assistant. So I finally settled in my department and served as a teaching assistant. So it was around that time that myself and few colleagues, we all decided to put in some applications and decided to, look for which programs around there. So I think around that time, like I said, if there were a lot of information at this point, some of the things that we did back then, maybe we wouldn't have done it. And so we were very determined. I mean, I think I had an amazing group of people who were also having the same interest. And so things like reviewing statement of purpose. We didn't have these resources that are currently available, like GRASAC USA and other organizations trying to help, students review their SOPs. We didn't have that time. So if I write my statement of purpose, I pass it around to my colleague, he reviews it, and then he also passes. So multiple people will read it within ourselves, and at least each and every one will identify a unique error or something, and then we fine-tune it. So that was what we did around that time. And we always had our documents ready. And so what I mean document is we knew the most important stuff was your transcript and your certificates. And most of us relied on our national service allowance. So that was what we used to do for that. So once we know the math is about approaching, we start creating the profile. And one of the things that really helped us around that time as a team, myself and other colleagues who were TAs, was that we used to share information a lot, right? And so I applied to, I think, 5 institutions, 2 in Canada and then 3 in US. So I applied to...
Is it possible to mention those universities if you can remember them?
Yeah, sure. So I applied to Mississippi State University,
Okay.
I applied to UCSD, University of San Diego, California, and then I applied to East Tennessee State University. And in Canada, I applied to University of Alberta, where I finally settled, and the University of Saskatchewan. So those were the schools that I applied, and I had admission to all of them with full funding. And
Wow.
the
No,
issue
no,
was,
no, 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 no. Pause there, pause there. You mean you got admissions into all of them with full funding?
yeah, I mean,
Then,
yeah,
I guess you
would say
were
around
confused.
that time, it wasn't that people were traveling, but it wasn't as crazy as we have now. So
Okay.
getting funding around that time wasn't much of a challenge. I want to be
Mm.
fair. For the past couple of years, I've seen that funding has become an issue.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you didn't
You can't
put in the work, all right. So the option was, am I to go to the US or to go to Canada? And all my colleagues, those of us who were teaching assistant, probably 6 or 7 of us were all moving to the States. And so, I was like, oh, maybe I have to move to US as well. And the funding from US institutions was much higher than the one that I wanted to get in Canada University.
Canada.
But I think one of the reasons why I finally chose University of Alberta was it was one of the best universities in the world. So that prestige, I want to say, kind of influenced my decision. And also, Canada appeared to be more immigration friendly at that time from the information that I had. So those were the two major reasons as to why I decided proceed to Canada. But I want to say that, at that time there was this, financial request. Even if you had a full funding, you are still required to provide 10,000 Canadian dollars. I think probably still around. And so that was much of a challenge, getting the bank statement in supporting that. So I was like, okay, well, in US, I don't have to provide this statement. And so I applied for my US visa, trying to book for my interview. Graciously, I had one colleague of mine who had an uncle and then spoke to him, was like, hey, you know what? This, my friend of mine, has had admission to, pursue PhD in Canada, but he needs financial support and then bank statement just to prove that he has extra source of income. So that bank statement came, and so I decided not to proceed to my US visa interview and submitted my Canadian application, and then finally got my Canadian visa. One thing I want to share with people is, especially in this time, I mean, when people are always thinking of going to grad school, there's a lot of information out there. So people find it difficult to know one is, because majority of people are speaking from their own experience, which might be true, and they have good intention. But what I want people to know is that the graduate school application process varies. Even within a particular institution, it varies from department to department. When I was applying at that time, University of Alberta, chemistry department specifically had what they call the pre-application process. So basically what they do is they open the application, calls for everyone to submit your transcript, they evaluate, and then subsequently will send out an email to people to now submit their formal application.
Wow.
And the idea behind that was that they just didn't want people to be paying application fee, knowing that they cannot absorb
They
all
cannot.
They use the pre-application process to kind of screen and those kind of stuff. So, and that was different from maybe department of nursing or different department, even within the same department at university. So I encourage people to do due diligence, research, read, find out what applies to you. Don't just go by, because Isaac said or Aaron said or somebody said. They might be saying the truth and might be applicable to what they know. But perhaps what you are applying to, or the institution to which you're applying to, might have their own policies and then requirements. So fast forward, I moved to Canada. So I didn't do my master's, right? So I moved to do my PhD directly. And it was a nice experience coupled with some challenges, right? I mean, when I moved to organic chemistry department, where mostly wasn't that of an area that in our graduate studies, undergraduate studies in Ghana, we kind of emphasize more on that. So most of our courses are heavily focused on analytical chemistry and other aspect of chemistry. So there were some challenges. So I had to sit in for some undergraduate classes, just to refresh my memory on some of the things. And that to me really helped me because some of the basic concepts were not fully grounded when I started my program, but having to sit in those advanced undergraduate classes really kind of helped me and gradually got myself integrated into the system. I was fortunate to have an amazing supervisor who was very supportive, an amazing research group. And so one of the things I always tell people is don't just write to a faculty and say, hey, I want to join your group. You want to know which research group you are joining because grad school journey, most cases, your success or your failure or your happiness might come from your supervisor. And so it's very important. I'm saying this because prior to joining U of A, the faculty to which I wanted to work with wasn't the person that I finally ended up with. But when I was in Ghana, the excitement that came with having admission to University of Alberta, I was just like, oh, I want to work with you. I didn't even know the policy, the requirements, what he expects from his grad students. And so it's very critical for you to be very cautious in making that determination. And that's why some universities have policies in place that restricts faculty members from interacting with prospective graduate students so that they don't influence them before they make any decision. So US, I think they use the rotation system. In Canada, what's happened is in most of the STEM-based programs, once you're admitted by the department, if you start, let's say in first 2024, which was September, you have up until November to make a final decision on which professor you want to work with. So you have to talk to at least 4 or 5 faculty members before you make your decision. And that is one of the reasons why most people will not receive reply from cold emails. So if you send an email to a faculty in a university that have policies that they are not to interact with prospective graduate students, they likely will not reply to you. It happened to me. So when I was applying to University of Alberta, even though I had gone through the pre-application process, I was still sending emails and none of them replied to me. It was up until I had admission and then this faculty said, hey, Isaac, I know you reached out to me 4 months ago. I know you've been admitted. Are you still interested in talking to me once you finally move to Canada? So that can be one of the reasons why you might not get reply from your faculty. And a lot of people have that concern. Oh, Isaac, I sent an email and I'm not getting response. And then I ask you, is it a requirement for you to contact a supervisor before applying? Because not all programs have that requirement. Most programs are kind of general application. You apply, and once you're admitted through the department, then you can select your supervisor. And most people don't read that clause, and they still want to reach out to faculty, get a feedback before they apply. So if you are here and you're a prospective graduate student, always make sure that your program to which you're applying to does not say that you need a supervisor's approval before applying. If it says you need a supervisor's approval before applying, that is when you have to send email to secure a supervisor's approval before you submit. Other than that, there is no restriction or there's no binding that you have to write to a supervisor. Do I recommend reaching out to a supervisor even if it's not a requirement? Obviously, yes. I mean, you build network, you build contact, but it's not a requirement. And so if you don't do, it doesn't. And also don't send the email with the intention that that faculty might influence the decision. Some of them might not even be on the admission committee. So these are some of the things that I just want people to know. But I think the journey in Canada was amazing. I had amazing family, community of people, which really helped me integrate well, church, friends, play soccer. And then relocating to US for my postdoc was one of the finest journey that I encountered. I had to drive like 42 hours from US to Canada to Connecticut by myself. And then, I think it was an amazing journey. Moving back to Canada for my first industrial position was, kind of what I really wanted to do when I finally decided that I don't want to go into academia. And I, knowing that US has a lot of opportunities when it comes to the pharmaceutical sector, the likelihood that I was going to move back to US was very high. And I finally moved back where I am really enjoying my stay here in the beautiful city of San Diego. And I invite everybody who is within the West Coast to visit San Diego and then enjoy the beautiful beaches and all the amazing stuff. But I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward for the Q&A and then help people answer some of the questions. And I'm also here to learn as well. So thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Entry, for this wonderful submission, and I really love that. And during the Q&A session, that is where we are going to really. Myself, I have some questions for you because you have been to Canada, you've been to US, and then now you are working. You went back to Canada and you came back to US. So we need a lot from you, especially in terms of how you were able to successfully graduate in the various, degrees that you took, right? And I know my good friend, the Frederick, as well as Prince Shaibu. Prince has 2 masters already and doing his PhD. And Fred also has completed 2 fully funded master's programs. So these are some of the things we are coming to learn from this great speaker. So, Dr. Entry, personally, I have questions to ask you. Yeah, because I'm also coming to learn from this very conference. All right. So, when it's during the Q&A time, I'll also ask my question. That's great. Okay. So, viewers, thank you very much for still staying through. If you have not shared the link with other people, we are learning a lot over here. And myself, I am learning. I am here as a learner as well. I'm not here to just host the program, but I'm here to also learn because I'm currently in my first year program at the University of Texas at Tyler, pursuing my master's degree in mathematics. And I also need some of this very information to be able to excel academically over here and also in terms of landing internship opportunities, right? So make sure you share the link with other people. Let them all join, come on board, and then to be able to learn from these very great speakers that we have. Okay, so in the next session, now we have 3 speakers who have already done that for us. We are going to pick the very last one. Then after that, we are going to have the Q&A session, right? We're going to have the Q&A session. And like I said, I'm going to post the link in the comment section, so you make sure you just click on that link and then request to join us. But by the time you are joining us, make sure that you have your video on, because without your video, I am not going to bring you on board. Right? I'm not going to bring you on board. Mr. Prince, are you ready?
Yeah, I guess I am.
All right. So before you come in, I will let Frederick also introduce himself. He joined us. He was having another engagement, and then he joined us not long ago. So he's going to introduce himself to us briefly, and then Prince will come in before Frederick will come and share his experience with us, how he was able to manage to complete 2 master's degrees fully funded, and then how he was able to excel. Because Frederick was my friend of mine back in UCC. We were all sleeping in the same hall, Atlantic Hall. And I think we were just next door neighbors, right? Fred, if I was right.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So please, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's great to be among great people. So greetings to Felicity, Ophelia, my senior Victor, and then our boss Shai, and then our boss Isaac as well. So my name is Frederick. So I originally from University of Cape Coast. Shaibu was my teaching assistant by then, and then I came through Ohio University, and he was amazing. Most people who came through Ohio University were inspired by Shaibu's guidance and all that. So our year batch, he was very instrumental in our settlement back in OU. So we owe him a lot. And I moved from Ohio University to University of Kentucky, worked in, Arizona, the governor's office, moved to Massachusetts, and then so I've been moving around quite for some time now, and currently in Alabama for a while, and then I don't know where my next step is going to be though, but yeah. So thank you, Aaron, for what you've been putting in to help our brothers and sisters. Your story really inspires all of us, and yeah, I'm glad to be here as well. So I'm behind the Fred Effect social media platforms. We put out information concerning studying abroad and stuff like that. So I thank you for the opportunity, and I'm glad to be here.
All right, thank you for joining us too. And he said he doesn't know the next step. I want to also follow you. I want to be moving from the state to state, right? So for how many states have you been to so far before Prince comes in?
I
And
think I learned this.
I didn't know Prince was actually your teaching assistant.
Yeah, he was. I
Wow.
mean, and I think that it was through him. I think people have not given his flowers. He's not received the flowers enough. It was through him that most of us got to Ohio University, or got to know that,
Wow.
okay, studying in US was possible, because he is a smart guy. To be honest with you, he was my economics TA. He's a smart guy, and when he got the breakthrough through Ohio University, he dragged a lot of people along. So Isaac, Augustine. So almost everybody, most people at Ohio University were influenced by the fact that Shaibu was there. He would use his car to be picking people from the airport, getting accommodation.
Wow.
I think he has not received his flowers enough. Maybe we should just have one time, and he was having I can't say all the stories here, bro. But
Yeah.
he was very helpful. He would tell you how you can survive when you land at Ohio University. So shout outs to Shaibu. He has been doing amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. And Shaibu, thank you so much for the great work you're doing for humanity, right? Thank you so much, and God bless you. Because through you, Frederick came, and through Frederick and some few people like Dr. Isaac and the rest, we have also been here. And I know through us too, some others will also come and then realize their dream and then be able to achieve them. Thank you so much, and God richly bless you. All right, so over to you, Mr. Shaibu Prince.
Wow. Thanks so much, Fred and Aaron, and all of you. Thanks so much. And those of you watching us, thanks so much. Uh, so I where do I start from? Okay, so I'll start with a little bit about my journey. So I was a teaching assistant in 2015, and then in 2016, actually, I had a senior, like my TA, when I was in level 400. He went to Ohio University. So he was actually the one through whom I got opportunity to go to Ohio University. Just that when he, went to Ohio University, I was the one who reached out to him, and then he helped me with the process and all of that. But when I came, I think a lot of people knew about me. And so it was easy for me to kind of help a lot of people and all of that. And one thing I want to say is that when my boss, Francis, when he came, okay, I remember I reached out to him somewhere in October, and he was like, he's in the middle of the semester, he cannot help now, I need to wait and all of that. So at that time, I was a teaching assistant, but I started working on my resume, my personal statement and all of that. It was after the semester had ended that he reached back, and he took all the things that I was already working on, and then he kind of transformed them into what we finally submitted. So I think the semester ended in the middle of December. So we worked on the application stuff, and then we submitted application on January 7th, 2016. Sorry, 2016, yes. And for some strange reasons, within 20 days, I got a full scholarship from the school. Like, it covered everything within 20 days of submitting the application. And it was, partly because of the fact that he did a lot of work on my application stuff. Now, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when people send things to you for you to go through for them, they don't, when you tell them they should give you time, they think you don't want to help and all of that. I had that a lot, especially when I came the first time, because I had so many people sending me things to go through for them. And these people think, once they send it to you, you just have to help them and all of that. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes you just have to be patient and then trust the person. If the person says he wants to help you, you just have to do your part and then wait for the person to kind of help you to, with the next step. Now, I remember, Aaron, when you said you wanted to organize this, I asked you, what are we going to talk about? And you said our mistakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I thought about a lot of things, and I realized that I made so many mistakes, when I came. Like, I've been here for 8 years and I've made so many mistakes. And there are so many things that are too personal that I don't want to talk about them now, that kind of thing. But then
Sure.
there are certain things too that I want to talk about. And like Fred said, I kind of helped a lot of people, like so many people, because when I looked at my background, where I came from and all of that, and the opportunity to come to the US to study and all of that, I took it upon myself to mentor so many people. Like, so long as you reach out to me, I was willing to help you. And when I was coming to the US, I had, my senior man paid one of the application fees for me, right? And so because of that, almost anyone who reached out to me, I paid the first application fee for them. And it was about $55 or so, But the mistake with that is that you cannot help everybody. Like, I was doing more than I could do. It was so, like, I look back and I realize that, all of these things, I could have done things in a better way, but I was just so happy that I was here. Like, the fact that I can help other people, like that kind of. So I invested so much into a lot of people. I helped so many people, but at the end of the day, it's not feasible. Like, it doesn't work like that, So one of my first mistakes is that you cannot really help everybody. Like, you have to help people, but you cannot really help everybody. There were some things that I went through, and I wanted to make sure no one goes through the same thing. Like, I arrived in New York, and even from New York, I was going to Ohio. Even from New York to Ohio, that journey alone, if I tell you, like, it was a whole lot. And I didn't want anybody to go through that kind of thing. So all those who came after me, I made sure they arrived in Columbus for me to pick them up to Athens. Like, I did all of those things, right? So my point is that no one, like, those of you come in, it's good to help those back home, but please look at your time. Try to do things that you can do with your resources and your time. Don't try to over impress and all of that. Another thing also is, don't try to create the impression that you have everything figured out as soon as you arrive in the US, because the reality is that it is very difficult. It's not so rosy like people back home. People think the money is so easy to come by, and so, like, you can help everybody, but that's not the reality, right? So don't create the impression that you have everything. Let everybody understand that you are beginning your journey. So when they ask you for something, you don't have it, they should be patient if you can have it, or if you can give it to them or not, right? So don't try to overdo things. Now, another thing that I want to talk about has to do with debt, right? When you come, you have all these credit cards that you can apply for and all of that, and they will approve it for you. Especially if you have built a good credit score, you can easily get credit cards and all of that. If you are just coming, please don't apply for more than one credit card. Just stick to one and then use that one to build your credit. Don't overdo things. And if you're already here and you don't have a job yet, like a good job yet, don't have more than, like, if you've been here for a few years and you don't have a good job yet, don't go for more than three credit cards, because it's a trap, right? I made some of these mistakes because I was spending more than I had, that kind of thing. So I ended up, making all these mistakes. So I'm trying to say that when you come, please don't spend more than you earn. Always. I wish somebody told me this. Don't spend more than you earn. Always have a budget. And if for some reasons you are not making enough from school, like you are not being paid enough, what you should do is, there are pantries probably in every university. So take advantage of these pantries. They give you free food. Just that some of the foods you might not like, but at least you will always get something to help you out. So take advantage of these pantries on campus and make sure you don't spend more than people back home. They can always survive. You are here and you are thinking about them, but the reality is that they will present their stories to you, and you feel like if you don't help them, no one can help them. But at the same time, you have to think about yourself. You are here, you are on a journey, and you haven't settled, like fully settled yet. So if you try to carry everybody on your shoulder, you might be in trouble. So think about your life very well, use your time very well, and don't do things that you cannot do, like especially if you don't have the means to do that. And try to spend, just what you earn. If you don't have any funding from the school, take advantage of funding opportunities within the school, because with every school, you are like, if the department you work for doesn't have any funding, you can actually get funding from other departments. You just have to apply, take your time, ask questions. Always ask questions. That's a key thing. Like, if you ask questions, somebody can help you out, right? There are people who speak French. When they come to the US, their departments don't give them funding, right? But then, because they can speak French, they are able to get GA positions to teach French in other departments, right? So that is also something that I want everyone to kind of understand. And there is something called EB2 NIW. I've been here for 8 years. I heard about this years ago, but I never took advantage. I never paid attention to it. Now, basically, the EB2 NIW is a pathway for you to get your green card without using employer sponsorship. Like, you can actually petition yourself. If you think you cannot do it yourself, you can actually reach out to an immigration attorney, and they can actually help you out. And some of you may know, I have a YouTube channel called Shy Guides, and I interview somebody who has gone through the process and has a lot of information about this and helps other people. And so I interviewed him, and he opened my eyes to so many things. Like, it's crazy. Like, when I tell somebody I've been here for 8 years, it's like, why haven't you had your green card already? Because I always thought the employer sponsorship was the easiest option. Meanwhile, this option is actually easiest. It's just there. I have 2 master's degree. I am doing a PhD program, and my PhD program has a master's in statistics. It's an optional master's, and I'm actually doing that statistics as well. I'm almost done with the statistics, that kind of thing. So, like, I have all of these things, and I can actually apply for it. But because I didn't get somebody to tell me the way I wanted to hear. I heard about it so many times. There was even a time I had somebody who was denied, and I was like, oh, this thing, like, if you might waste your time. I was thinking like that if you apply, you will waste your time, because this guy was denied, and that kind of thing. And it's also a bit expensive, because when you self-petition, you're going to spend over $2,000. If you use an immigration attorney, everything is like $6,000 or so, right? But the benefit of having a green card, man, is crazy. Like, it gives you a lot of flexibility to do so many things, right? So it's more than worth it. But I didn't know all of this, right? So it is also something that we have to think about. And the final thing that I want to talk about has to do with the fact that we are human beings, right? And the human experience comes with pain, with frustration, loneliness. Like, even if you're married, there will be days that you feel isolated, you feel lonely, and all of that. Like, these are part of who we are, right? We go through all of that. When you come to the US, there will be many days where you feel lonely, right? You miss home, like homesickness. You wish you wish you can see your family and all of that. And it's also expensive to buy tickets and go back home and all of that. But what I want you to understand is that the fact that you are here is a big opportunity. When you are going through those difficult times, it is not enough for you to be complaining. Yes, it's okay to feel stressed because professors want you to do this and this, and all of that. But at the same time, you have to remember that you are better positioned than so many people. Like, people are going through so many things, right? So always look at the other side, what you have. Don't look at what you don't have. Look at what you have. Be grateful for what you have, right? Look at the fact that you are here. Many people apply, they don't have it, right? They didn't get a visa, but you are here. So don't complain too much. Life is hard, but don't complain too much. And the last thing I want to say has to do with I went through a lot of stuff which nobody actually knows, because I had to, deal with it myself, right? And one of the things that helped me in when I was going through those situations had to do with I'm just seeing if I guys see writing seasonal depression. Yes, it's actually as if he was talking to me. So I was actually depressed because I went through so many things, right? And one of the things that actually helped me during that period was having a routine. So I wake up and I have clear routine, and that by the time I'm done with my routine, I know what I should do. Like, it gives me the energy to and do whatever I wanted to do. And one of the things in my routine is exercise. Like, every morning I try to, even if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, that actually helps me a lot. So when you come, it's not easy. Like, life abroad is very difficult. Like, it's really difficult. You might think America is heaven, but no, it's heaven, but at the same time, like there are challenges because it's part of the human experience, right? So this is what I want everyone to do. Please
All
keep all
right.
of mind, and yeah, this is all I have, and I wish all of you the best, and thanks for having me again.
Mm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shaibu, for this very great submission. I really love it. And like he said, the depression is real. Is real, guys. Like I remember when I got here. Now during I think December there about like Christmas back in Ghana, like Tadi, like Takradi is boiling and Accra is boiling, like you are enjoying yourself. But over here, everyone is looks like everyone is in the room and like you are alone. And I remember, I got married not long and then I left my wife, and when I came here, it wasn't easy, right? It wasn't easy. So the depression is real. But then some of the things that you need to do is one of the things I did to be able to overcome depression was the fact that I was able to engage myself. Based on like the church that I was attending, I make sure that I was very active in the church, and then also like some groups, small groups on campus or around, I try to also join. Then during those times when I feel like I want to feel depressed, I quickly go for such meetings, and then by the time you come back, you are okay, right? And he said one thing which is very also key: exercising. So please, over here, it's almost like every university has a gym, if I'm not mistaken. Like even the small universities that I know, they have a gym. So when you come here, and mostly when you are a student, it's free. So try your possible best and exercise to always stay fit, and then eat good, right? Eat good. Thank you very much, Prince, for this very insight. And like he was saying about the NIW, like we said, this very conference is mainly for people who are coming to pursue their higher education in the US or in Canada. Now, those of you in US, this is a new path that a lot of people are using to be able to get their green card, because sometimes you might not be able to get the sponsorship from companies, right? And very soon, it wouldn't be long, I will bring my mentor, like I said, Dr. Entry. He has gone through this very process successfully. And so I'll be bringing him on board, and he's coming to share with us some of the things that we can do. Immediately you start, your master's degree or your doctorate degree, some of the things that you need to do when you have that kind of end goal, right? Because some of us, we didn't have that very notion. And I think that was some of the mistakes Prince said that he did. And you don't want to also come here and do the same mistakes, right? Yeah, so I'll be bringing my mentor on board. That's Dr. Isaac Entry very soon. Not now, but maybe either ending of this month or next month. And then he's come to share with us how to prepare yourself, especially those of us who are entering the country now. And then those of us who are already here, like how you can position yourself to be able to get this very NIW done effectively and efficiently. Thank you so much, Prince Shaibu. So at this point, we are going to allow 2 or 3 people to come in and ask their questions. Then we take the last session of the panel, that is in a person of Frederick, a Japan, and then Miss Felicity, and then also Peter Bewa. Peter Bewa will be joining us very soon. Then he also will share his experience with us because he's coming from Canada. He also shares his experience with that. Then we take the last set of questions. So I have posted the link for you to be able to join. I have some few people at the backstage. I'll be bringing them on board. And then, like I said, if you don't have your video on, I am not going to bring you on board. So when you come, please be brief. We are not coming to ask 1,000 questions here. Each one is allowed to ask just a question. Okay, just a question. So please make sure that when you come, you be brief, and then the question will be directed. If you want to direct it to a particular speaker, you can go ahead. But if you want to make it general to any of the speakers, can take it up and then answer. Thank you very much. So let me bring the first person on board. So let me. All right. So you are welcome, Joshua. So Joshua, introduce yourself. Tell us where you are watching us from, and then ask your question. Thank you very much.
All right. It's down here is 2:48. I'm in India at the moment. I just completed my master's in information technology in India, so I had to just stay up to join this conference to learn.
Thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, so I'm preparing to do my PhD in USA. I've tried to do my transcript evaluation. I watch Aaron Spice. I watch your video, and I thought it's good for me to do my transcript evaluation because with India, it's very difficult to gain admission using their system here is totally different that from USA. So I had to do my transcript evaluation, and with the one I had from University of Ghana. So I'm in the process, and I want to ask this question: if you get a reply from a professor telling you, okay, you can recommend me in your SOP, or probably when you're filling the application form, there's a portion where you have to type in the professor's name that you want to work with. If he gives you that go ahead, does it mean that it's a green light for you to apply? Let's say, okay, I'm applying to the school, right? And the application portal, you write a code mail to the professor replies back to you and tells you, okay, when you're filling the portion where you have to write the name of the professor, you should fill in his name. Does it give you a green light to apply? That's my question.
All right. Thank you very much. So please, directed to any of the speakers, if you want to answer us, either Prince or Dr. Entry or Victor, Fred, please, any of us can answer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe other speakers will chip in, but what I want to say is it depends on the context to which you reach out to the professor, right? So in most cases, profs who want to hire you directly through their grants might want to even schedule an interview with you, talk to know you, and then get to know you, right? So my recommendation would be, for sure, he probably think he wants to work with you, but to get that level of certainty, you can do a follow-up email and find out what the process are and ask whether he agreeing to, having his name in your SOP or doing the application portal amounts to a potential admission or anything, just to be clear on that, because it could be just, yeah, okay, you want to work with me, but he might not necessarily have much influence. And like I said in the earlier submission, the grad school application system mostly is of two folds: one directly through the department and one directly through the faculty member. And I believe in this case, if it's through the department, then it doesn't really matter. The faculty member might not really have much impact. But if it's being through the faculty member, and then in your case, you want to get that level of assurance. And from my experience and speaking to other faculty members, they most likely will want to even speak with you, get to know your research experience, why you are interested, and then they will just say, hey, well, I think I have a position for you, so go ahead and apply. So stay in communication with him and verify and find out what the process at during that time is, and just be sure about it. And then you don't want to have that high hopes and subsequently get to know that that is not what it is.
Okay, so in 30 seconds, I responded to his mail. Okay, yeah. And it looks like it's summer, so probably he'll reply later. Actually, he was being referred to me by the graduate coordinator, because I scheduled a Zoom meeting with the graduate coordinator, and so I wrote to him, and I think in some 1 week later or 2 weeks later, he replied me. So I replied back, but I've not heard from him yet. So I'm just waiting and hoping that he will reply to me back. Thank you very much for clearing this for me.
I don't know if I can add something briefly too.
Yeah, okay, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I also always advise people, and like I think Isaac mentioned, most of these when I was applying to higher university, I never wrote to any professor. I remember the only time I did write was I was making some inquiries about a different program altogether, and the coordinator scheduled a meeting with me that was not like me wanting to apply. But when I was actually applying for the programs, I never wrote to a professor. When I was about to begin my PhD, that I did write, and I did that just because I wasn't putting my hopes, everything on the fact that this professor was going to respond to me. I met a professor at a conference who gave me his card and said, oh, he was interested in what I was doing. During the application time, I sent an email. This professor did not even respond. But I just went ahead to apply. And I always tell people it's not about getting in touch with the professor. And like Isaac explained, some of them are individual. If the person has his own grant and needs somebody like a teaching assistant or a research assistant to work with, of course, you will see the green light with trying to have further conversation with you. Then you know the person is interested. Yeah. But if it comes from the department, they usually And some may be nice, of course. If you reach out to me, for me, if you write an email to me and you tell me you're interested in my research and so you want to mention me in my SOP, fine, fair enough. I will never say no. It does not necessarily mean I'm approving that, oh, you're going to be admitted, because mind you, I don't have any role to play in the choice of the admission. So just go ahead. My point is, do not be deterred when the professor is not responding to your email or you don't find any professor to write to. Still apply. Nobody will beat you
All
if
right.
you get it.
Yeah.
No,
Thank
go
you.
on. All right. Thank you very much for joining. So we have the next person, Emmanuel. So Emmanuel, introduce yourself and please be brief. Be very brief. Ask your question and then let's go straight to the point. All right, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you are muted. Unmute yourself. Emmanuel, you are muted. Okay. All right. Whilst Emmanuel is preparing for that, let's add this very person. You are welcome, John. So, John, please go ahead and ask your question.
All right. Thank you very much, Aaron, for the opportunity. Yes.
You're welcome.
Please, yeah, my question is, I would want to ask, what are the necessary things you would have to put in your SOP, which will boost your chances of getting admission and then graduate assistantship?
All right. So, please, any of you can go ahead.
I don't want the men to hijack it, so I think let's allow our ladies to chip in.
Yeah. So maybe Dr. Felicity and and then Ophelia. Any of you can tackle that?
I think that it's a whole lot, John. I think your SOP it has to be a fit for what program you are applying to. That's the first thing, right? So, for example, if you have experiences that align with a particular program, right, you should make sure that it all fits. So there are a lot of things that you can apply, you can put in your SOP.
All right.
Stuff
Well,
like
let me say, I'm a person from the hospitality industry. Like, my background
Your
is in
line
the
is
hospital.
your line is breaking. So if you can adjust yourself well in terms of the network, we can hear you clearly.
It's coming from the hospitality background in the industry.
Yeah, I am from the hospitality background, please.
Okay. So there are so many, I would say, so many YouTube videos out there on how to write an SOP, right? And there's this 6-step process that I go through when I'm writing or editing someone's SOP, right? So the first is the introduction, like introduce your hospitality, why you are interested in hospitality. It can even be like a quote or like maybe a personal story, right? I think what an SOP is that you are trying to sell yourself, you're trying to market yourself. It's not elongated form of your resume, but it is the story behind your resume. And that is what really to me attracts the admission officers or whoever's reading your SOP or your admissions. And so make sure that you are telling a story. Talk about your experiences, talk about your education, the things that you've done, talk about your goals and how the school is going to help you accomplish those goals, right? And then talk about the school itself. Why this school? Why do you want to come to this school? And also just allow other people to look at your SOP and edit it over and over and over again for you. But to me, what makes an SOP stand out is the story, right? How passionate are you about this program, and are you able to convey that passion in your statement? To me, is what's up.
All right. Thank you very much, John, for joining and passing through. All right, Dr. you want to add something?
Yeah, to what Ophelia said, I think you rightly put it. What I
All
also
right,
want to be aware is that there are some universities that have particular requirements and specificity when it comes to SOP. Some of them will even give you what they want you to answer. So as an applicant, you want to read on the website and make sure that it's not the general SOP. Some schools will say your SOP should be focused on answering these particular questions. They'll give you the question. Some will even give you the word count, the font size, the spacing, and all those kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that you are not writing an SOP which does not answer the questions to which the program wants you to answer. And finally, your entire application package consists of your statement of purpose for sure, your transcript, your resume, and recommendation letter. So you want to make sure every package you are submitting, it's to that level. So you don't want to go do a good job on your statement of purpose and not work on your CV, or not putting in people who can write solid recommendation for you. So always make sure it's a complete package. But what I just want to highlight is programs have specificity, and you want to make sure that you are abiding by what they want you to write. If you're applying to Yale, for example, they have certain questions that they want you to answer in your statement of purpose. That might be different from University of Alberta, which mostly is like the general SOP, like Ophelia said, the story behind your CV, what motivates you, why you are interested. So always do the background check and make sure that you are doing the right thing.
Yeah, to add to that, okay, so I actually have a video on personal statement, right? And what I want students to understand is that the admission committee, okay, is interested in someone who genuinely is interested in their program. Like, your interest has to align with what they offer. So basically, you start with your story or a background, right? Apart from the fact that some schools will give you specific information or instruction on what to do, like Dr. Entry said, right? That one, you have to make sure you consider everything that they have said, because if you don't do that, then it means you're not even serious about going to the school. But if the school doesn't tell you anything and then it's general, right? Start with your background, your story, and then with everything you say, so your educational experiences, how is that connected to the program you want to pursue? If you've done internship, how is that connected to it? What is your long-term plan? How is your long-term plan connected to the program you want to pursue? And also a little bit about why is the school a good fit for you, right? So if you connect all of these things and somebody takes your personal statement, the person can actually tell that, okay, this person genuinely wants to come to the school. So yeah, they can check out the video, like I said, on my channel. Okay.
Before we end it, I will show Prince channel so that you'll be able to know what he's talking about, as well as that of my good friend Frederick. Yeah. So before we wrap up, I'm going to show you their pages or their various social media handles. All right. So we are going to pause here for the questions. I want my speakers to give us the information, and right after that, now we can take a lot of questions. Okay. So guys, just exercise some patience. Now we want to move to the next three. That's the final three speakers who are going to give us their submissions and then share with us some of the things that they went through and some of the things that they think if they tell us is going to help us as incoming international students. And I think more of the questions is like the people who are coming on board are people who are rather want to, they are now coming to study our application. That is very good. We are going to have sessions for that too in the future. But if you are an incoming international student, you've gotten your visa, or maybe some of you, I think you just want to hide, right? You don't want people, maybe you have not landed in the country yet, so you want to, stay low key. And I perfectly understand. You can, send some of the questions in the comment section, and I'll just project it, or I'll just read it out without mentioning name, and then any of our speakers will attend to that. That is if you have any question regarding your settlement here and your transition. Thank you very much. Over. All right. So now over to you, Miss Felicity. Kindly unmute yourself and then walk us through your journey. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you everyone, and thank you to those who spoke before me. I've really learned a lot, especially from Shaibu, Isaac Entry, Ophelia, and our own Presido. So my story is not far-fetched from what everyone has said, but for me, I'll say what began my story was connection. So when I completed UCC, I knew I wanted to go out to further, but I really didn't have a plan. I would be honest about that, because I was so much invested in family as compared to myself. I wanted to make sure my family is okay. So I really didn't have a plan. But then I had a friend who spoke to me, began with me, and then I applied. So I went through the SOP. I had people who were reading my SOP. I was serving at the Center for Gender Research, Advocacy and Documentation at UCC, known as SEGRAD. So I had my bosses read through my SOP for me and help me with the revision. So I had my application. I got the school. I applied to three schools, if I clearly remember. I did three in US and one in UK. So I applied to Ball State, Wayne State, Bowling Green. Those are the US schools. And then in UK, I've forgotten the name of the school, but I got admission also there. But then the funding was a problem. So then it was time for the visa interview. And for that, I would say YouTube really helped me. And my friend also helped me, because I went online to watch some of the questions, the likely questions. I wrote the questions down, and then I sometimes write my answers and rehearse. So sometimes I did it alone, or I had my friend call and ask me, okay, so when you go to the consulate and they ask you this question, what are you going to say? And then I try to repeat and do it over and over and over again. And one thing I'll say is the process is stressful. At some point, you feel like giving up, because you would edit, rewrite your SOP over 1,000 times, just because it's not for you to be so perfect, but you want it to be very good before you submit. So that is it. And during my time too, there was COVID. Luckily for me, so my school wasn't asking for the GRE, because that was another thing I heard about that were scaring people off from applying. But luckily for my time, that wasn't a big issue. So I went through the process, and unfortunately for me, 2 days to my visa interview, I was sick. I had food poisoning, so I was in the hospital and then rushed back home. So I went to my interview with support, family support, people holding me. But when I was going inside for the interview, I went alone, and God being so good, I went through the process and I got my interview done and got the visa. So coming here too, it was through the help of people, because this is my first time coming. I didn't know anyone. So people helped me with apartment. Apartment is something that when you get your visa, that is the next thing you are supposed to reach out to people for, because you don't want to come to the US and be stranded. I remember I had someone who told me, oh, I had this room available for you. And then the next day, the person will tell you, oh, the room is no longer available. And in that moment, I'm already stressed out, because I've done interview, I've spent money and all that, and then I'm not getting a place. So at a point, I thought probably I would come and be stranded, like I'll patch with people. But God being so good, that didn't happen. And one thing students coming into the US must know is, in US, you can easily become homeless if you don't plan. So you have to reach out to people. Don't try to be an island. Reach out to people. People are there to help. Yeah, if they don't reply immediately, that doesn't mean they don't want to help. But when they see the genuineness, they would reach out to you and also try to connect you to people. Because for me, it was through someone connecting me to someone that I got a place to uh, take as my own. And then I came to the US. My master's was rough, especially getting to the ending. It was rough because the whole stress. Like, I remember one time I was doing an assignment, and one thing I like to say is always have a plan B when doing an assignment. When you make a file or you are typing an assignment, no matter how much you can trust your computer or your laptop, have a backup. So I remember one time I was making this whole assignment and I was waiting for last minute. Those in the US know most assignments are due 11:59. So I was waiting for last minute to submit, and just 5 minutes to the deadline, my laptop freaked out and my whole document turned into this blank file. I was scared, but luckily for me, I had something I had stopped working on. So immediately I jumped on that and I used it. Then after that, my PhD application was where I really learned the ropes. I really learned the ropes. And that one, I started, the application would end in December. My friend made us start in October. So in October, it's really a big deal. Don't think the application is something you start today and you finish tomorrow. No, it's a big deal because you need a period of time to search the schools you want to apply to. You need a period of time to structure how your SOP is going to be. And even as you send your SOP to, let's say, Shaibu, Fred, Isaac to read for you, they'll also send you comments to work on. And if you are someone who you get discouraged easily, when you see the red inks in your SOP, you decide to give up. But I will treat everyone that you can't get it right the first time. Most of my professors will say the first draft is always the bad draft. But if you keep working on that draft, you will get a perfect one. So just be at it. And also, if you have an advisor, try to create a good relationship with your advisor, because my advisor was one of the people who came through for me. Because I remember when I was applying my first application that went out, we started reviewing the whole document or my whole file. As Isaac said, it's a whole file in a week's time. But one day she decided to dedicate the whole day to me. So we started 10 a.m. and we ended at 1 a.m. the following day. I didn't eat, I didn't get up, I didn't go anywhere. I was sitting at my desk from that time. And when I finished, I realized that this whole application process is hard work. It's really hard work. And when you are applying, as some of my co-speakers said, go to the school's website to find out what they want from you. The fact that you went through your master's application doesn't mean your PhD application will be the same. The SOP you use for your master's might not be the same SOP you have to use for your PhD. So you go to the website to see what they want and you write it in that manner. And also, one thing I want to say is the fact that you are applying for a school doesn't mean you should sell yourself short. When writing your SOP, write things that when you yourself, in some years to come, when you pick your SOP, you'll be proud of the things you wrote. Don't write and look desperate. No. When you are writing your SOP, write as someone who is selling yourself, but you know the value you have on yourself. Yes, you want something, but don't sell yourself short whilst writing. Follow the standards, follow the requirements, and write. And let people read for you. On the issue of reaching out to a potential advisor, in my case, I did that. When I was applying to some schools, I researched the department to make sure I got people who were working in line with my research interest or my focus, because I was also a Black person. I was interested in feminist and gender issues. I wanted people, not to say Black people, but people who were aligned with my interest, in the point that when I'm trying to argue out a case, I will get someone who will say, Felicity, this is your argument, but also look at this side of the argument, so that you present both sides of an argument so you don't look biased. So I went online, went through the department, the faculty, read through their specializations. I even took some time to go through some of them, their CV, when I was preparing my CV, to make sure that, okay, I have this kind of similarity in terms of the format, because some schools, they also use formats in terms of their CV write up. So I did all that, and then I emailed some of them. Some of them, I met them at conferences. That is something I think I've spoke to Aaron about. If you are in a school and you have an association where you attend conferences, take advantage of that, because you go there and let's say you meet, let's say, a professor, or you even meet Isaac or Fred, who can link you to someone who will help you. So if you have those conferences, take advantage of them and attend them. So some professors, I got to know them when I attended conferences. And then I reach out to them. And as I heard earlier, they reach out to me and they want to interview me, because they want to know what I'm doing and also find out if what I'm doing aligns with theirs. So I went through that process, and I applied to 8 schools and I got the 8. And sometimes
Wow.
choosing,
No. Wait. You mean after your master's and you were applying for the PhD, you applied to 8 schools?
Yes,
Wow.
I
All
applied,
right, go ahead.
and I would say that I got through all of them with full funding, and it was so amazing how all the applications went through, and I would not take the glory from my advisor, Dr. Lara Lingo. She was one person who took her time, sacrificed for me, went through the final copy of my SOP to the point that I remember it was 12 a.m. where she called other professors from other schools who came on board on a Zoom, and then she would share my SOP screen and ask them, uh okay, she has written this, let's try to critique it so she sees the weaknesses. So as they pull out the
Wow.
weaknesses, I took notes, and then we go behind the scene, and then she'll give me time, work on it, send it back to me. And that was something that really helped me to go through all the schools, and I was so happy, I was so proud of her that she did that for me. So I went through all the
Interesting.
schools, and then picking a school also was challenging because I know myself, I react to cold weather. So I also wanted to pick a place that I won't react so much to the weather. So I went through that process, sought the advice of people. Some people will be honest with you and tell you, oh, this school, when you come, no one will mind you because everyone is on their own. This place, there is a whole Ghanaian community. When you come, even with the depression, we have Sunday special. All the Ghanaians will come together, we cook, and then we eat. So all those things were something or things I took into consideration. But one thing I took into consideration was support. I really
Hmm.
wanted a support network because, to be honest, uh, I made mistakes. I will not say I'm a clean sheet. I made mistakes, but I knew I was going into a new environment. So I wanted people who could support me and tell me there is a gap here. Make sure when you are jumping or you are leaping over it, you take note of this. So that's what I wanted. And then I chose University of Maryland. It was not easy. Before I went to University of Maryland, I did two internships. That's something that
Wow.
also helped me.
You did three internships?
Two. I
Two.
did,
Wow.
yeah, two internships. And even aside those two internships, I was someone who was out there. I did volunteering for my international office. I worked with Girl Scouts in Western Ohio. I worked with them to kind of talk about Ghana. So those who follow me on LinkedIn, you see me posting a lot about Ghana. Sometimes I try to blend in by dressing like a Bangladeshi, trying to bring out that intercultural sense of who I am and how Ghana is more open to intercultural diversity. So I did those, and those also helped me in my application because when you're applying, it's not just your story, it's not just your uh, credentials, it's also about how sociable you are, how many volunteer activities you've engaged in. And I also had roles in my school, BGSU. I was the chair for international students, graduate international students. I,
Wow.
at one point, was the secretary of GCA, that is graduate communication students in my department. So I had roles, and even in church, I was a secretary. So I was doing all this whilst in the master. So when I
Well
was,
studying.
yeah, while I was writing for my PhD, my SOP, I had this in my scope, and I also attended conferences, so I had the information there, and I had guidance to do that. And
Hmm.
when you come, especially those starting the PhD, it's not a smooth ride. It's never going to be a smooth ride. No one would deceive you that it's a smooth ride. Some people, they'll reach out to you and they'll tell you, oh, look through their SOP for them. You tell them, oh, I need a little time, because the moment you just say little time, the person is offended because the person wants you to leave all that you are doing and attend to the person. Yes, you can do that, but as I think Shaibu said, you might be doing that at the expense of your own education. Sometimes you have to look at where you are standing first, and always I use this: when you are in a plane, the air hostess will say that in case there is a crisis or a crash, save yourself first before you save someone else. So it's the same situation, but people don't understand. When they are in Ghana and they reach out to you, they think the education here is fala, so you have nothing doing because the computer is there. When you just put the answers, your lecturers will just mark you, but it's not like that. It's hard work. it's really hard work. So when you send out your SOP to someone or your CV, just be patient and give them time. And also, when it comes to scheduling, one thing that I'm not someone who really likes scheduling. If I know I have an assignment, I know I have the assignment that is due Monday, I give myself up to, let's say, Friday to have my first draft. Saturday, I should be refining that draft. But at a point in time, I felt ill. I think I went through stages of stress, depression, and then I was having problem with my health. So that was where I saw the support, and I had to do scheduling because I couldn't stay on my laptop for long to learn, because
Mm.
once the rays go into my head starts aching and I can't see anything, I can't see you are talking to me but I can't process anything. So my department came in, they were helping. Oh, Felicity, if that is the case, some were even suggesting I take an incomplete. But I knew I didn't want to also go on the vacation with the stress, so I would kind of work with a routine. So having a routine really helps. Not
All
everyone
right.
is a routine person. I'm not forcing anyone to take a routine, but do what will help you,
All
because
right.
the PhD, the masters, it's not easy. It's no man's joke. Because when you come, you realize that you are taking pictures the first, second week, oh, all is nice. When you enter the middle of the week, everything changes. You are even going for lectures and you don't care about dressing, because at that point, if A doesn't become A, B will not become C. So you're not even thinking about your beauty, you are thinking about making it, because with masters, your limit is a B minus. And even PhD, getting that B minus, you are afraid. So you are doing everything to get a grade. So if scheduling will work for you, do it. But to manage your time, and please make time to have fun and mingle with people, because the people you think that, oh, they are working, they are not important, that person will help you tomorrow. The fun is
Mm.
also necessary, because when the stress is stressing, the fun becomes important. Make
Wow.
time. Use the gym. The gym is free. Use it. You are not going there. Some people say, oh, if you are going to the gym, you are going there to gain muscles and all that. Some of us, we just use the gym or we walk around just to take away some of the stress. Because as Ophelia said, you go, you are listening, but the accent is not working for you. So you have to come back and do your own reading. So I remember one time going for lectures, I came back, I cried in the lecture. When I came back, I just closed my book and I went to sleep, because I was so discouraged. But I told myself, if people have gone through the first year, I will also go through. It will take time. So I used to
Mm.
take whilst people are sitting down, not taking notes. But I know the house I come from. So I had to put in the extra effort. So my last words is, if you are here, connect with people, seek help. Internship will not come on a silver platter. Sometimes you need someone to connect you or to recommend you. So connect with people and know your value. It will not be rosy, but with hard work you make it. And when you some post YouTube video and they are talking about something, probably it might not help you today, but you just watch it and have the knowledge behind your mind, so that when someone reaches out, oh, I want to do this, you might not know it all. Oh, go and watch this, or I watched this and it helped me. That one also, for me, YouTube helped me during my interview process. And sometimes I go back there to learn from people, what people are going through, how I can also use someone's knowledge to help someone who also wants to come here. So I think that is what I have to say. Thank you, everyone.
Wow. Thank you very much. She said that it wouldn't be rosy, but with hard work and determination, you will achieve it. And like all these people that we are talking about are people who have, I mean, gained their master's degrees. They have gone through the studies. And like I said earlier on, I also have the same issue. When I came here, I think in my first lecture, it was graph theory. And this lecture was purely American. And throughout the whole class, I was hearing people speaking, because we're just three in a class with two other Americans and then the lecturer, the professor. At the end of the meeting, I was hearing people talking, but then I didn't hear anything. I came home and my mistake was I didn't even record anything. So that first lecture, I was even given an assignment to do. I remember I came to sit behind the computer, and then the book the professor has given us, and I was like, so where am I starting from? And you know, one thing about this place, especially if you are in class with only Americans, they are independent people. It is not like back home where like they give us assignment and then maybe Dr. Entry will do it and then we'll all come and dab. Please, over here, you can't dab anyone's way. You can't dab anyone's way. This one is God for all of us, each man to himself. So please, you try as much as possible, like they are saying. When the semester begins, when the whistle is being blown, everything that we are doing here counts. It's not back home like we focus on only end of sem exams. And I know maybe Fred is going to touch on that, and then maybe Peter also touch on that. That is not only the end of sem exams that back home we focus on, like, because that one is 70%. Over here, it can even shock you that your end of sem exams is just 10% of your overall marks. So if you were not serious right from the beginning till the end of the semester, and you say you want to be end during the middle or the ending of the semester, bro or my sister, you are going to miss out. So thank you very much, Felicity, for this very insightful journey, and then also the experiences that you have shared with us in terms of how you end your internships. Right. And over here, there are a lot of opportunities. But like she said, if you don't network yourself, you will never get the information. I remember this summer I went to do my internship. My company flew me to Dallas and flew me to Houston for free. I like bought like 6 planes, and it was all catered for by the company. Where I slept and my food and everything was catered for by the company. And like, if I didn't get this very information, I wouldn't have known some of these things, and I would have even enjoyed this very summer going on this very internship to get the experience and everything, and then came back home. So if you get here, please try as much as possible. Don't remain in your shell. As much as possible that you want to be kind of like you don't want to get problem for yourself. Try to also network yourself. Make sure that you engage yourself in the community you find yourself. Don't be idle and don't sit down without doing anything. So in the next few minutes, we are going to have our dear brother, the Fred Effect, that is Frederick A. Japan. He's going to take us through his journey, some of the mistakes that he has done as an international student when he got here. He is fortunate to have graduated with 2 masters already, one from the University of Ohio, like he said earlier on, and then one from the University of Kentucky. And currently he's working. So he's also going to share his experiences with us, and then we'll take it up from there. Then Peter will give us the final submission, and then we will take the questions. So at that point, we are going to receive a lot of questions, and that one is going to be diverse. Any question you want to ask, but then any of you who want to ask questions with regards to use transitioning smoothly into the US system or into the Canadian system, let us know, and then you can come on board. Thank you very much. So over to you, my good friend.
Yeah, God bless you for this opportunity. And I keep on saying that for people who paved the way, like Shaibu, like Augustine, like Ike, Alois, people who held our hands to go through the system successfully, will continue to remember them. For Shaibu, for example, you have to drive like 3 hours, go back and forth from Columbus to pick people, settle them in, get them food with your fans and stuff like that. God will continue to bless you. Now, one thing I wish somebody had told me when I stepped when I started this process, or when I boarded the first flight, was everything will be fine. Some of us came here with a negative bank account. So when I say negative bank account, my parents had to go and borrow money to be able to afford ticket for me to get here. Now, understand that some people are going through this process. So once you come here with a negative bank account, you need to fight that negativity back home. And I know Shaibu has been paying flight ticket for a lot of people that I personally know. So God bless him for that. So even if you're coming here, there is nothing in your pocket, bro, everything will be fine. If you're coming here, you have no scholarship, everything will be fine. If your university didn't offer you anything at all, you went through Empower, whatever bank statement, bro, everything will be fine. So that is something that everybody should know. Stepping here, where you're going is very cold. Everything will be fine. Shaibu would let you know when you come to high university on a GRS, it's not a good thing. But God's grace, everything was fine. Everything will be fine. Let me start my presentation with three stories. So everybody have to understand that visa does not guarantee entry. So if you have a visa, it does not necessarily mean that you're going to be admitted in. Three stories. So a friend, got a visa approved from Ivory Coast Embassy. That was last year. She was preparing to come. And then she has bought tickets, stuff like that. I think it was the Easter period. So she told her sister that, okay, let me celebrate the Easter before I come. Guess what? The visa was revoked by the Ivory Coast Embassy, and this lady is still in Ghana. Second story, there's a lady who had an agent work on the process for her. She was able to go through the visa process, get the visa approved. At the point of entry, that's where they got to find out that the I-20 was fake. Just a couple of months ago, there was a lady, she had an admission to a school. She did a transfer back home. Now, let's understand that when you get your visa approved, your service ID number as well as the name of the school appears on your visa. So normally at the point of entry, they will check your I-20 as it correlates with your visa. So what the mistake this person made was that she should have entered with the same I-20 that she got the visa approved with, which will be consistent. Now she did a transfer home, successful, and she got Cleveland, Cincinnati. At the point of entry where she's supposed to show the I-20, the I-20 was a different school. The visa is a different school. Now they told her she has to go back. When you get a visa, it does not guarantee entry. There are some people who talk a lot. Some of these processes, you need to be mute and keep them onto yourself until you are settled in the system. If you're coming without a scholarship and you've gotten your visa approved, congrats. Now, what you have to understand that most people, when they get their visa, when they're applying to a school, they apply to a lot of schools. So they might have gotten a scholarship in the school that you did not get scholarship into and are not able to make it. So they probably go to a different school or they do not even get the visa. So once you get into the system, try and talk to the admissions officer, the graduate director of your program, talk to the international office, talk to the graduate office. My second, master's, I had my scholarship from a non-academic department. There are several, non-academic department like the housing, services, transportation services that have scholarship. So once you have the visa, try and communicate that you are coming. And so if there are any scholarships available, they will let you know. Again, you do not necessarily have to restrict yourself to the school that you got admission into. Now, you can get your visa with a different school, and if you had admission, maybe with a better offer from a different school, try and get into the system, do what we call a service transfer, and move to that school. Some people move after a semester, some people move after a year. Once you're in the system, you have that flexibility to do that if only you're able to apply and get a better offer. When you come, approach people. So there are scholarships available unless you talk to people to be able to get it. Every university has an employment website. Normally, they would advertise some of these scholarships over there. The trick is that try and get in touch with the person in charge of that position. So, for example, I was studying public administration from the MPA department, but I was working with the Kentucky Transportation Center, which is a non-academic department, just a research department in the school. So my department is separate, but I work in a separate office because I got in touch with them. I spoke with them. Hey, I have an admission at this department. Can I work for the transportation center? Fortunately, they have an assistantship available, and then I was able to work with them. So understand that even though you got your visa without a scholarship, with a partial scholarship, there are still opportunities available even before the semester starts or even after your first semester. There's still an opportunity. If that school is not working for you, there's an opportunity to also relocate elsewhere. Let's talk about health insurance. So, most schools you would have to pay your health insurance, out of your stipends and all that. And if there's an opportunity to get a flexible, one which will be accepted by your school, which is less expensive, and you think it's a good fit for you, you can go for that one instead of paying the expensive one, from your institution. Another thing I want to talk about is, when people are coming, I need to get somebody to pick me from the airport. I don't have accommodation. Normally, some schools have, temporary accommodation for international students coming in. Listen, you wouldn't be the first person to go to the school you're going to. There are a lot of people who have been there. Talk to people. If the international office has arrangement for that, they will let you know. So Colby Community College is located somewhere in Kansas. They have an arrangement for even undergraduate students coming into a community college. So they are picking them from the Denver airport to Colby, where the community college is. So if there is such an arrangement, you don't have to worry yourself searching for people or maybe expensive transportation to go to your school. Now, sometimes you may not like the accommodation you will pay for before you get to school. So if you have an opportunity to get to, I know Shaibu was doing that a lot, like helping people to secure a good place before they come. But if there's nothing like that, try and get a temporary accommodation on campus. Physically inspect the place you're going to stay for a year or for a semester before you get in and pay for it. Yesterday on my group, on my platform, there's somebody coming to Ohio State University in Columbus, which is 1 hour, 30 minutes from Athens, where Ohio University is. And then the student was picked from the airport by the, his advisor, and he was given about $800 to start with, paying rent and, security deposit. There are a lot of people that are offering such help. So you can take advantage of those information. Shaibu talked about pantry and you having access to those foods so that you can save some money for yourself. There are some bank accounts, and it was Shaibu who made us know all this, that you can open a bank account, some banks like Chase, that will give you money for free, within a couple of days. Take advantage of those opportunities and utilize them. Talk to people. But again, understand that whatever be the case, everything will be fine. Some of us who came with negative bank accounts, we've now been able to pay the debt back home. We are okay. The life, if it was easy, like everybody would have done it. It is cold over here. It's understandable, but you'll be fine. But thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Wow. Thank you so much, Fred, for this insightful submission that you've given on to us. We don't take it for granted at all, right? We don't take granted at all. And I know we have learned a lot, right? When it comes to securing accommodation, I think Ophelia, Felicity also said about that. Don't think that when you get here, you are whoever you are going to pitch with, or the temporary accommodation you are going to have is what you are going to stay through till you are done with your masters. No. So what you try as much as possible to do is, after getting your visa, connect yourself with people. What I did was I went to LinkedIn and then I checked people who are in my current university, connected with them, and then someone told me that, okay, I can host you for like a week or two. So what I did was I have to come here earlier. When you are granted your visa, you can only enter the country 30 days to the start of your program. You can't come until that 30 days is up for you to be able to start the program. So I came here, I think, on the 25th, when I still have like 25 days, just because I wanted to start my process early. Remember, if you're a teaching assistant or a research assistant or a graduate assistant, if you get here, it doesn't mean that immediately you get here, you start receiving payment. You have to go through a lot of processes. You have to do onboarding. You have to get your social security and other stuff before you can now be able to receive payment into your bank account. So if you think when you get here, you immediately start getting money, it is not like that. So try as much as possible, connect with people who are here, start the process, come here on time to start the process, and make sure that you at least you have a good place to sleep before you start with your academics, right? Other than that, when you start going for classes and you don't even have a permanent place to sleep, it sometimes becomes very difficult for you to be able to adjust. Thank you very much. At this point, we'll have Peter. Peter is here to join us for his session, and then we'll have the question time. But since he's not here, he's not yet here, let's take the question. So I have some few people on board, and very soon we are going to end the session. Very soon, in the next 20 minutes, we'll be ending the session, right? In the next 20 minutes, we'll be ending the session. So kindly take note of that. And so I'll be bringing people on board to make sure that you ask your question. Let me see if I can get two people. All right. Samuel, have you been here already? Samuel, have you been here already? Samuel, please unmute yourself. Can you hear me? Someone, we can't hear you. Am I the only one, or let me see?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Yo. My question basically contained of those people who are with disability. What are their chance of getting the scholarship? Are they any university in US in Canada who are responsible for take care of students with disability in order we want to pursue their masters as well as their PhD?
All right, so over to you, panel.
Well, I mean, what I would say, I mean, the graduate school application, it's an open for all process, right? So uh, you may not be denied application because you have disability. Uh, so the general application it's open for. There might be specific fundings or scholarship that may be available for people with disability or people coming from even underrepresented minorities as well. So those are some things you can look into. But when it comes to the general application process, I think it's an open for all process. I mean, even if you don't indicate your physical state, nobody gets to know. So nobody is going to review your application based on who you are. When it comes to the funding, then that's where maybe I would say there might be specific opportunities for other categories of people, which sometimes you might be aware of these scholarships or funds only when you have been admitted. So prior to applying, it's just an open for all process and you just submit your application. Once you are in the system, then you could look in for some of these specific scholarships. And there are a lot of them. I know most universities have special funds available for people with disability, even sometimes people from underrepresented minorities, marginalized groups, and so on and so forth. So those are things that you can look into. Other than that, it's an open for all application. So that's the little I want to say.
All right, thank you very much. So let's take the next person, Enoch.
Okay.
Enoch, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Aaron. I am a student. I'm still a student, level 300 student at the University of Education. I read biomedical sciences, and though as it stands now, I may not have a question, but I want to find out if there's a way we could connect with all the speakers on board today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. And if you're at UCC BMS, I think BMS is one of the programs that I was a TA for BMS student, and I know about 5 of my students who are currently at my former university, University of Alberta, who were also BMS students when I was a TA. So, I mean, it's one of the programs that when it comes to funding, especially within Canada and US, is very easy to come about. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn if you want to get connected to some of your past. They might be your seniors or something like that. I can recommend you to them. But so I think LinkedIn will be the best place. Just search my name and you can find me.
Thank you very much. So, like Dr. Entry rightly said, he's on LinkedIn, and that was some of the things that I was doing, which helped me connect with people on LinkedIn. And one of the things that I did in terms of searching for schools, apart from using the Google search and any other medium for me to be able to get a schools, I go to people's profile on LinkedIn. And then I will check if those people were teaching or research assistants, and then the school they are in. Then I'll quickly go to the school's website and find out if they offer the program that I want to do. And these are some of the things that I was doing to be able to shortlist schools that I wanted to apply to. So make sure you also use that avenue as well. Reach out to some of them on LinkedIn, and then when they have the time, and please, when you send them messages, take your time. Some of you think that when you send a message immediately, people have to respond, but then you maybe you don't fall within their schedule, right, at that very moment. So give them some ample time, let them find time, and then be able to review your statement of purpose for you or your resume or anything. And don't just jump into conclusion and then be saying, oh, and I've sent you message and you are not replying. Like some of you, you can sometimes your comments sometimes can be very harsh. So please do your possible best and refrain from that, because sometimes it will even turn the person off. And me, when I receive such messages, I don't even reply to you, because I don't owe you anything. You don't also owe me anything, right? It is a help we are trying to what extend to you. So you try as much as possible to respect that boundary, and then that's the person's time, and not just jump into conclusion and send a whole lot of harsh words to the person. Thank you very much. And so at this point, before I want Peter to wrap up with his submission. Then in the next 10 minutes. So, Peter, you have 10 minutes to wrap up with your submission, and then we can now take the question, and then we'll be off. So the next questions we are going to take is just going to be like 2 or 3 for the next 10 minutes, and then we'll be done after Peter is done. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, so Peter, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Today I've really enjoyed the section, and thank for I've met couples, PhD students, and some doctors here, and I'm very happy to be part of this conference. And I'm the only one speaking from Canada perspective. All these people are from United States of America, which is very um, a way of we exchanging ideas. So basically, my name was Peter Bewu, as people know. I am an inspirational speaker, and also I'm done with my master's in Canada. Right now, I am working in Canada. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate your page and also for the things that you have been doing. So, what I want to talk about today is
Thank you.
what to expect, how to excel academically. In fact, when I was coming to Canada, in terms of language barrier, it was very hectic for me because my first day in class, I told myself that I'm not going to pass because the way these people were talking, the only word I heard on that day was development. And I was very shocked. So when I came back home, I just called one of my mentors and told him, Papa, this one day, if not God, I don't think I'm going to pass, but to God be the glory. How you can able to adjust yourself, because something adaptability in what academics. And when you come to different academic or community engagement places like university here to do your master's or PhD, one thing that you need to understand is that you are coming to meet diverse of people with different speaking backgrounds. Even the Indians are here, people from different backgrounds. So if you are not able to adapt yourself very well, it will be very, very difficult. As Nkrumah said in 1960, I think 1964 AU, where he said you need to adapt or adopt. So when I came here, in terms of excelling in academics, one thing is that I position myself that after school, I need not to fail any exams. Sometimes you need to draw a timetable for yourself. Those people coming, you need to also engage yourself in strategic relationship. In fact, it's very key when you are coming here. People need to, direct your life and also give you some of the ideas and knowledge that can really help you to, understand the whole perspective. The second thing I'll talk about is the cultural adjustments. One guy just lost a scholarship because of cultural adjustment, where I helped him to secure a supervisor, and the supervisor asked him that if you're able to become a TA and maybe a gay and a lesbian is in the class, how are you going to adjust all this? And the guy said, I'm from Pentecost background. My father is this, my mother religiosity and everything. And in terms of culture, these people they inculcate all these people into the system where you need to understand that how you can also adjust your cultural background things here should also be different, and you need to also adapt so that you can able to integrate into the system very well. So in terms of culture, you meet a lot of people, they do their things very differently in academics as well, how they do their assignment, how they send emails. You need to learn a whole lot of things. Sometimes you need to follow some of the pages that is educative for you to embrace certain ways that can really help you. Health related issues. In fact, here in terms of weather conditions and all, Canada is one of the coldest country in the world. So when you're coming in terms of weather, you need to also understand how you can able to dress as a student, go into class. All these stuff affect the psychological mindset of students that you need to also adapt yourself into with financial management. In fact, if you're an international student, you require financial wisdom. And this one is going about how you can able to manage your finances, because here nobody is going to you know, tell you save this, save that. This one, you know, you have a credit card, you need to build it, you need to have all this intelligence, you need to invest yourself in career that is relating to financial management that can really help you as a student, and then it will also help you as well. Student life and safety, when you come here, in fact, you need to also, I don't know where people are coming from. Sometimes some people come here and they just want to compare their life with people. One thing that really helped me when I came here is that I don't compare my life with anyone. In fact, nobody really cares about you. When you come here, it is something we call the sociological perspective. We call it the survival of the fittest. And this one, it is according to the scholar Thomas Hobbes, which was depicting that people need to strive for their own greatness. And when you come here, if you're not strong, probably you can be weak. So sometimes in terms of mental health, you need to also be talking to people. Seek help. No one is isolate from success. If you're facing the challenges, you need to also take this one. Community engagement. When I came here, I've been speaking on different platforms, different universities, Niagara College. I've been speaking on different international platforms just to engage, just to empower the young one generation for us to embrace. And this one has able to build my resume. In fact, my first job I got in Canada was through a mentor, through a social volunteerism work. Volunteer when you're able to do it. Here they try to understand that volunteerism and community engagement is one of the key ways of you transforming and also building your holistic roadmap or your career. So community engagement is one of the key things. As international student coming here, if you can able to volunteer, engage yourself in something that is productive for human beings or humanity, I think it's very also okay. Internship opportunities. I did internship when I was doing my master's. So we have a different stream. We have the thesis stream, we have the internship stream, we have the major paper stream. So I did the internship. This is how I wanted to gain the Canadian working experience and also build some relationship with gatekeepers and industry people so that after school it can able to help me to secure some way. My final words would be like those people watching us from Africa. If you want to engage in this study abroad journey, you need to understand that it is you that's supposed to do the work. I've been telling people that people here, people are very, very busy. If you're waiting for somebody to reply your email before you send an email to your professor, 1,000 years, you will not even get admission. In fact, people spend their time here just to educate people so that you can able to understand the way. So if you're coming here, make sure that understand that you need to carry your own cross. When Jesus Christ was going to Golgotha, the cross was on his neck. So that means you too need to carry your own cross if you want to achieve greatness. And also, you need to also understand that not every time that you are going to get people to assist you. Sometimes some people you send them email messages, they are not going to reply. It is part of the process. Make sure you apply to good school that you're going to get funding, because when you get funding and you're coming here, it reduces the burden for you. So I wish you guys all the best. And when you're coming here, you need to follow other people. You need to also connect on your LinkedIn page. Some people have been getting LinkedIn opportunities over there, and it has really helping people a whole lot of things. So, Aaron, I will end it here, and then we take it from there. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Peter, for that very insightful submission. I really loved it. I mean, if if you know Peter very well, in terms of community engagement, he's there. In terms of studies, he's there. Everything, like this young man is really endowed, and as well as all my speakers that came today. Like, thank you so much for the insightful message and information that you've shared to us. So kindly take note. If you, I can see a lot of people at the background, at the backstage, who want to ask their questions, but we have crossed almost 2 hours 20 minutes, and my speakers.
I mean, if I mean, I don't know for the other speakers, but if people have questions, I don't mind sacrificing a couple of minutes just to help answer some questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's my mentor. Thank you so much, Dr. Aintri. So he's going to stay with us, and maybe the rest of the speakers, those who still want to hang around and be able to answer some of the questions, I would gladly love that. So we'll be taking the questions at this point. Let me bring this person on board. All right. So Salpauni. Wow. This is your name there. I hope I got it right. Salpauni. So kindly introduce yourself and then ask your question. And please be very.
Okay. Okay. My name is Salpaone. I completed from UCC 2016 BCom. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. We can hear you. You are live.
Okay. My is a request. I've selected my schools. I've made all the necessary steps, but I need someone who will review my SOP for me, because most of the people or my friends, none of them has an experience or to do that. So that is what I'm just phoning in for. If I can get someone to review it for me.
All right. So in terms of all right, Dr. Isaac, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I know GradSac USA kind of, have this annual SOP review prior to most application term. And I know GradSac Canada is equally planning such events where they intend to help review. So you can keep an eye on those tools, but you can also personally reach out to me on LinkedIn. I have a group of people. We've been doing this for the past 5 years. We currently have almost about 100 SOPs under review with all my team members. So the time frame might not be as smooth as possible, but we will try our possible best to get back to almost every application we get. But these are the possible sources, and I know some of our colleagues here have also been doing an amazing job that they can also be reaching.
All right. Thank you very much. So, like you said, connect with him via LinkedIn, and then you can also connect with me via Instagram. And if you're following my social media handles, you should have access to all my social media platforms. And so you can send a message, and when we have the time, like you said, I'll drop my email, and then you can send it there, and then we'll have the time to look at it. Thank you very much for passing through. All right, so let's move to the next person, John Sabla. John, you've been here already. I kicked you out and you came back again. Do you have another question?
Yes, please. The very last question. Yeah. During my HND study, I involved myself in student politics a bit. So I got a chance to be the SRC vice president. So I would want to ask, how do I articulate these extracurricular activities I engage myself in my SOP?
Okay, I think let me try to answer this question. Okay, so student leadership is one of the key things that these people, especially when I came to Canada, I was part of the admission board. I was a student representative at my university. So what some of my graduate coordinators and department here told me about.
What happened? I think it went offline.
Yeah. So
Dr. Isaac, would you want to tackle it?
Yeah, I was waiting for Peter to join. So I think rightly Peter began well with the importance of. Okay, Peter is back. So
Yeah.
go ahead,
Peter,
Peter.
please go ahead. Peter, can you hear us? Okay, I think he's having some challenges. So
Yeah, so I mean, I think one thing that you could highlight. So grad school, I mean, apart from the academic aspect of it, leadership is also one thing that you get to know in grad school. Everybody, when I was in grad school, I was responsible for our entire chemical inventory, responsible for chemical ordering, and then that becomes a leadership skill. So, in your statement of purpose, I think you want to highlight how one you've gained some leadership skills and the impact that leadership skills have also brought to you in your professional career as well as your academic career. So you don't want to dwell too much on it to be the focus of your statement of purpose, but you can highlight the importance of it and how that has prepared you going forward. But that shouldn't be the center or the focus of your statement of purpose. But I think it's a great achievement and something that you can highlight in your statement of purpose. And I think maybe Peter will have something to add to that. But yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, Doc. In fact, the leadership skills is one of the key things these people are looking at. Don't forget that whatever you put in the SOP should reflect in basically in maybe your resume. So whatever you have done, you just bring it in. But as he said, the significant impact you were able to do. Because sometimes they want to see people who are leaders in their laboratory or in their class. Then you need to think as a leader. So what impact were you able to influence the society or the student? Did you win award through the leadership? You can bring it in. Just don't emphasis too much on it. At least 3 sentences or there are 4 sentences that advocate some of the key things that we were able to do and the impact. So what you did in the leadership and the impact it have on the student is a plus to you. And I believe you need to also emphasize on it. Yeah. And you can even write it to channel through the leadership and how you're able to solve a societal problem within the leadership position that you're able to occupy. Because it is not just what you have done, what you did, and it is through that channel that you're able to articulate your problem solving skills so that it can be able to have an impact on the community or maybe on the lives of people, which is a very key thing because knowledge should be shared and your knowledge should be influenced or have an impact on your society. Yeah, basically that's what I want to say. Yeah.
I would like to add to this. So I think the leadership is very important, as everyone has said. But for me, I remember what I did is I structured my SOP into 3 sections. The first, my school or the schools I was applying to, I looked at whether they are research heavy or teaching heavy. So those that were research heavy, I started with my research abilities and strength and achievement. Then I come to my teaching. Then my last paragraph become my service. So in the service, I put my leadership, my volunteering, and my internship. These three, I cram them into one paragraph. But I don't talk about everything. I talk about the impact that that leadership has caused me to have either during the internship or whilst a leader in UCC or during my grad school. So you can also adapt that, but don't focus so much on that. Just go to the website of the school and look at how they are focused. Some are research heavy, so that one you have to focus on strengthening the research aspect of your SOP. Some are teaching heavy, and then you can give a short paragraph to your service, which includes leadership, internship, and whatever experience you have. Thank you.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you very much. So John, I know some Prince, were you speaking?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. All right.
But let me use this opportunity to say that I need to go somewhere right now. And thanks so much, all of you, and nice to meet all of you. Yeah, bye bye.
Sure. Thank you so much for passing through too. All right. So let's pick the next person. That's is it Lord Fred? Lord Fred, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for this inspirational session that you are having for us. I'm Lord Fred from Ghana, and I've put in some applications to some schools in the US. I think I've been following Mr. Peter for a while, and through his directions, I've been able to put in some applications. But I don't know if you guys can help with the recommend. I need one recommendation, and it's delaying one of my applications. So I don't know if one of you can provide that service too. So
In terms of the recommendation letters, here is is a platform that people are watching, but we can't just provide a recommendation letter without knowing you, the basics and the focus of who you are. Basically, I need to be real with you, bro. You can't just write a recommendation for someone because your reputation is also at stake, right? So what I would say is that if you're looking for a recommendation, the first thing is that you need to contact your faculty members, that's your lecturers. If you are not able to do it or two have done it, you are working, you're a teacher. If you're a teacher, I don't know the work that you are doing or the company that you work, you can ask you because we have three types of code emailing. We have the professional one, the academic one, and the private one. So the private one look at what the NGOs, the clouds. Although these NGOs in Ghana, maybe probably they don't have official email like institutional email they can use, only the Gmail. So what you can do is that you can send an email to the school and ask them that, okay, I'm working in this NGO, but they don't have any. Can I use so that somebody with a Gmail can do it on your behalf? Not just to write a recommendation letter for you, but it doesn't really speak well in the academic perspective. Let me say that. I don't know if Dog will also add something to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you, Peter. Yesterday I was speaking to a couple of people on this same topic. I mean, I've written a recommendation for a few people, but if you go through the questionnaires, right, and like Peter said, if an ordinary person is writing a recommendation for you without knowing you, two things: it's either the person has to lie or the person will give a false recommendation, right? So the recommendation comes in two forms for most grad school application. They have their questionnaires, which comes from the university, and then after that, they ask the recommender to upload his or her personal recommendation. And there are certain questions within the recommendation that if one person does not know you to some extent, it will be very hard for the person to provide a genuine answer. For example, on a scale of 0 to 5, how best do you know Lord Fred problem solving skills? There is no way I can honestly give that answer if I haven't been in contact with you, maybe serve as a mentor to you or work on a project to you. But like Peter said, you might probably be working or doing some stuff, or you've even engaged in some community service led by a group of people. Those people in that capacity at some point can recommend on some strength. So if I come to grad school, most of your academic reference are heavily focused on your academic performance, but there are other activities, extracurricular activities that you've done, which also might be critical. And so if you've worked for a company, if you've volunteered for some organizations, like Peter said, they are very critical when it comes to institutional letterhead. So seek that clarification. If they agree that, okay, well, it doesn't matter, we can always verify from the person, then you could source out to this. But I heavily recommend your direct supervisors or your academic lecturers to be the first point of contact. Or perhaps if you have a teaching assistant who at this point maybe is done with his master's, I mean, I speak to a couple of graduate admission committee members, and let's say if Peter is writing a recommendation for someone he was a TA for, he has gone through the process, he has what it takes to comment if A or B can pursue graduate school or not. And so those can be some of the avenues that I think you can also explore if getting a recommendation from your faculty is a challenge. And I know it's a challenge. I mean, it's not just you alone, but you want to try your possible best.
And sometimes too,
All right.
let me use this opportunity to say one word. If you are going to do, because recommendation letters play a key role in the school application. In fact, to me, Peter, only two documents I almost focus on: the SOP and the recommendation letters. It is very, very key, especially the recommendation, because the lecturer, they don't know you from Africa. If somebody is recommending you to them, and when you are going for the recommendation letter, if you can also write something about you and give it to the lecturer or something, it makes it very nice so that you can also, because getting recommendation in Africa is not, it's like a cocaine, sometimes. So you need to be very smart when you're applying. That's why I speak again that free waiver people advocating and telling people to use free waiver, apply to 30 school, 30 school. Who is going to do the recommendation for you? So you need to be very smart and play wisdom when you're applying the school. If not that, it will be a cost 90 work. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Peter, and then Miss Felicity, as well as Dr. Entry, for that great submission. Yeah. So someone was asking if they could get your social media platform so that they can get in touch with you. So before we wrap up, they are all going to tell us where they are active or their social media handles where they normally, engage with audience, so that you can also follow them as well. Thank you very much. So let's take this last question from Comfort. Oh, I saw one lady joining. Okay, let me bring her back. All right, Comfort. So, but before Comfort comes in, someone says, Chukwe Meka Opara. He said, "Mind TA that Mr. Entry." Oh, so boss, you have one of your TAs joining. All right, Comfort, mute yourself and ask your question. Comfort, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening.
Yeah, good
I
evening. We can
want
hear
to
you.
say a very big thank you for this opportunity. I've been following all your social media platforms. And it's really has been helping me.
Comfort, it looks like your network is very bad. We can't get all right. So let's pick Fatao. Fatao, are you still there? So Comfort will come back later. Fatao. All right. Then let's pick Mohammed. Mohammed will be the last person, and then we'll wrap up. They will share their social media handles with us, and then we'll wrap up and then finish up. All right. So Mohammed, unmute and ask your question, and then we'll be done. Thank you. Mohammed.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for the insightful discussion we are having here. Okay, so I'm a chemistry major student from the University of Ghana. Okay,
Boss,
so
why are
I'm
you
looking
laughing?
at
You're teaching, you're laughing. Why are you happy? I don't know why he's laughing like
I
that.
like- okay, sure. I mean, I'll tone it down.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a chemistry major student. So the question I'll be asking mainly will go to Dr. Isaac. As he has given us a lot of information, and I'm really impressed. Okay, so I'm looking at applying to the US for fall 2025. Yes, and I'm looking at some supervisors, and I'm saying that, so should I mainly focus on their publication, their recent publications, or maybe if the publications are not that recent, is that a red flag, or what should I look out for mainly when it comes to choosing a supervisor?
Yeah, so I mean, thanks for asking that question. So the chemistry program is one of the programs that you don't necessarily have to secure a supervisor prior to application. And so in my early submission, both US and Canada have different kind of system to allow prospective graduate students to select faculty members. So in Canada, for example, where I did my graduate studies, chemistry program, apart from perhaps University of Saskatchewan, which you might most likely secure supervisor before, majority of the institutions for chemistry related programs, you are admitted through the department. So for example, University of Alberta, where I did my PhD, you are not supposed to secure supervisor. And it's also against the institution's policy or the department policy for faculty members to interact with prospective graduate students. And so in selecting the supervisor, what they do is once you're admitted into the department, they give you, so let's say if you start in fall 2025, which is September, you have up until November to at least interview 5 faculty members before you make your final decision. Some of the things I will say in choosing a faculty member, especially with chemistry, I mean, publication for sure, almost every faculty member will be publishing, but you want to have a direct interaction with the supervisor. It is when you get a feel of who this person is. One thing you want to find out his or her expectations of you, work ethics. Is he expecting you to come in even on weekends and so on and so forth? Once you are done, you might want to then interact with some of the lab members, and you'll be fortunate enough, some of them will be honest and open to you, or even outside his or her lab, other faculty student, graduate student, and say, hey, I'm considering Professor A and B. What do you think? What does people talk about him? And they have what we call even rate your professor. You can use that to also see and hear what people write about that particular professor. For sure, you want to join an active publishing research group. But you also want to be in a research group which works on something that you can relate or you have passionate about. So if they are publishing you don't have interest in, you are not going to add value or you might not even enjoy it. So identify what you are interested in. I don't know which aspect of chemistry you are in, either organic, analytical, medicinal, computational, or so on. So identify what you are interested in. That will guide you in selecting which particular professor. But I'm very sure that for chemistry, you definitely will get a funding. And once you get into the institution, take your time. Don't be in a haste to say I want to work with Professor A and regret, because some professors have crazy schedules. Some of them do their weekly meetings from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Some want you to come in on weekends, which might not be feasible. So just put in the application, have an interest in which aspect of chemistry that you are. That will guide you in deciding, okay, which faculty members, once you have the admission, you want to interact with, and then you make your final decision. So take very good advantage of the opportunity that they give to, because that is the only time a graduate student will get opportunity to interview the faculty. So you are going there to interview him and why he should convince you to why you have to join his or her research group. So you have to ask all the questions that you think of, and most of them are very honest, and you can get a clue about their mentorship, and then supervisory style, and you can make a decision out of that.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Isaac, and then all those of you who joined and then you asked your questions. Now, if you are still live, we still have like 140 people still watching via YouTube, and then we have like 50. Let me check it out. We have like 55 people still watching on Facebook, and then for LinkedIn, I've not checked yet. But thank you guys for joining and for tuning in. If you have not liked the video yet, kindly do your best, like the video so that YouTube can recommend it to other people to also come and watch this insightful information that we've shared here. Now, Dr. Isaac and then Miss Felicity are going to give us their final words, and then we will end the session. But then I've dropped a link, and the link that is currently showing on the screen, I've also dropped it in the comment section. If you want to be part of the mentorship program we are running, it's free. I have a team that we are assisting people through their school applications. Now, we are not going to do the applications for you. Please get it right. We are there to share information with you. So we are going to be holding webinars intermittently to be assisting you, especially when we get to know of schools that are waiving application fees, schools that are offering assistantship. And currently, I'm doing some series called the Drop and Share series, and it's only schools that offer assistantship positions. And I'll bring you the packages that they will give to you when you are offered. As at now, I've dropped about 6 episodes already. The 7th episode is ready and will be uploading very soon. And I share almost close to about 7 schools, minimum of 7 schools in each of the episodes. So try your possible best. If you want to pursue your higher education, especially master's or your doctorate degree, come for 2025, then these episodes are very good for you. My good friend, the Frederick, is also running the program series. And if you're able to combine these very 2 series, it will shock you. You are going to get a school that you want to offer that very program that you want to do, and then also get the assistantship that you need. So I've shared a link there. Request to join the page. And then, like I said, we are not going to do the application for you. All we are doing is to share the information with you and the schools that you can apply to. Thank you very much, and do your possible best to join. And please like the video. Like I said, we have only about 110 people liking the video, but we have more than 200 people who join. Do your possible best and like the video so that it can be recommended to other people who watch. All right, so over to you, Miss Felicity. Your final words, and then Dr. Isaac will give the final words, and then we are off. Thank you very much.
Okay, so my final words is, in this life, know that you are not in competition with anyone. When you come into the system, connecting with people is very important. But also, Dr. Isaac said something that just struck to me. Know your interest. Don't go and get attached to someone because you want to be known, you want to be popular. Know what works for you and go with that direction. And also, as I said, you are not in competition with anyone. When you are studying, know what works for you. And also, when you need help, seek help. Because when you keep quiet, you might be dying inside and no one knows about it. But when you open your mouth and you say, "Oh, Dr. Isaac, I heard you went through this. I'm going through it. How can I manage through the process?" At least, even if he doesn't tell you anything, there is one thing he will tell you that will take you to another level. So seek help. And when you come here, people say it's higher brochi. Here is America, heaven. Here is heaven, please. This place can be fun and you can get taken away, especially when you come for the first time. You can get carried away. But please, when you come, know why you came, know where you are coming from, and know why you came here, so that whatever you do is tailored towards that. Thank you again, Dr. Isaac. I've heard a lot and I've learned a lot. Also, Mr. Peter also said something that I learned. Aaron also just hits on it. The fact that you are applying and you are seeking help doesn't mean someone should do the application for you. We all went through the process. It was tough. Some of us, it took us 3 months to complete one SOP. So please dedicate yourself to your application and others would support you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Felicity, and I really appreciate your time here. And I want to take this very moment to thank all the speakers that came, the Freddy Fett, Miss Felicity, Miss Ophelia Koto, Mr. Prince Shaibu, Mr. Victor Kojo Day. Have I left someone out apart from Dr. Isaac? All right, so I've mentioned everyone. Thank you so much for making time to come and then inspire and also share this very valuable information with our audience and then those who are coming in as international students. Now, I placed the link for a Google form that I placed in the comment section. Like I said, if you're an international student coming to start your fall semester, I promised in the videos that I was circulating out there that we are going to gather your information or your data. And when you get here, we are going to assist you to apply for your visitor's visa for free, especially if you are a student in US and you want to go for vacation in Canada. Don't think that because they are neighbors, you can just go into that country. You need a visitor's visa to be able to go there. So we will assist you to get your visitor's visa. And if you're also a student in Canada, we'll assist you to be able to obtain your visitor's visa for that of America, so that during the Christmas break or during any of the breaks that you want to come and then have a vacation here, you could also have that, and it's for free. Thank you very much for joining. And so my mentor, that's Dr. Isaac, is going to give us his final words and then we'll be off.
Mr. Aaron, please,
yeah.
I would like to leave, but I think I would like to let people know that you can reach me on LinkedIn and on Facebook. It's the same name. That's my name on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So those who want to reach me, you can reach me through that. But I would advise you to reach my boss, Mr. Isaac. He has all the connections. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for passing through. And God richly bless you. I really appreciate it. So, guys, she has mentioned the place that you could reach her. Do your possible best and then reach out to her. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Isaac.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron, and thanks, Felicity, for passing through. I think you guys did an amazing job sharing, and I think you guys are the current people when it comes to grad school applications. So sometimes I like to defer some of these things to you. My final words to people, especially those who will be watching later on, it's always have a reason to apply to grad school. I always tell people, whatever the reason is, it's up to you, but at least have a reason. And I tell people, ask yourself why you want to go to grad school. Is it for personal development or mere competition? Is it the fact that, oh, everybody's going and so you want to be like them? Is it a crowd effect? Oh, everybody within my circle is going. Do you think it's a means to an end? Or you think it's just the end itself? Is it a convenient alternative? Oh, maybe things are hard in Ghana, so probably. Whatever the reason is, I'm not telling you what should be your reason, but at least have a reason. And I say this because the reason that brings you to Canada or US will determine some of the things that you do. So if you come with the reason that, well, I think education might be an alternative means for me to get to my destination. And so, well, I don't think I want to do a PhD. You wouldn't waste time trying to pursue a PhD when you know that you wouldn't use it for anything. And so these kind of help you filter, even when you are in the system. And that's why a lot of people come, they don't have all these things. They end up, winding around, spend so many years because they didn't come with a purpose. They apply, they have what it takes. But it's different from having the qualification and applying and getting, and having a purpose to which you are applying to. And so have a reason. And I just want to also finally say that the work, it's up to you. I mean, Aaron, Felicity, and all the guys can help you with all the information, but it is your responsibility to verify, to do your own research, and to make sure that every information out there that you receive is accurate. And whenever you are in doubt, the graduate school coordinators are always your first point of contact. Reach out to them, seek for clarification. You don't want to put in your $150, $100 only to find out that GRA is required and you don't have it. You don't want to spend that money only to find out that funding is partial and then you cannot afford the remaining funding. So do that background check. Make sure you are certain before you submit your application. And I think the rest, there's nothing you can do. Just pray and hope for the best if you are spiritual. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And like the last words that he just said, that if you are spiritual, don't take God out of this very journey. God has been very supportive in my journey right from Ghana to this very place. And even when I got here, some of the favors that I'm getting a whole lot. So if you are spiritual, like you said, don't take God out of your journey, because it plays a major role, even in terms of your application, your visa approval and everything. So please make sure that you do that. And like I always say, remember that your dream is valid. Some of us have been able to achieve our dreams, and it was because we were focused. It didn't mean that we didn't face challenges. We faced several challenges. And even when we got here, my mentor, Dr. Isaac, will tell you, I called him several times to tell him that, boss, like, it's not easy. I just want to even stop the program, or I want to do this. But he kept on encouraging me that, you are here now, do this, do that. And I took those advice. And today, just last semester, I was able to earn a scholarship aside my graduate teaching assistantship money that I received. I earned a scholarship, and it was because I make sure that I don't remain in my shell. I extended, like Felicity said, you make sure that you also open up to other people, let them know what you are going through, and they can assist you. But you don't want to remain there, and then when the situation has become worse, that is when you want to now reach out to people. It will be too late for people to be able to assist you. So thank you very much for passing through, Dr. Isaac. And then thank you very much, Ophelia, for your time and everything. I really appreciate, and God richly bless you. But as for my mentor, I'll bring him back again, and we are going to talk about the NIW, your route to be able to get access to a green card as an international student when you are done with your education, because now they've opened it up. It's not something that is illegal, it's legal. So you try your possible best to also harness this very opportunity. And I'll bring him one of these days to share much information on that for us. God richly bless you. And I'll sign out by saying that, remember, your dream is valid. Bye-bye.